Thank you very much. Good morning, honorable members. Morning, Deputy Minister, the DG, and the provincial leadership of KwaZulu Natal, Eastern Cape, and Western Cape, and the delegation led or those that are representing Department of Public Works, who must also appreciate that we had a good interaction with the Public Works in our last engagement, and hope, as the committee has advised, on how we're going to interface with your presentation today. And welcome Honorable Mkalipi to our meeting. This serves as a continuous engagement with the provincial structures. As you know, that we've interacted with these issues with the ministry and the DG, and the committee felt that it's important that we directly interact with the provincial structures because there are issues that we've picked up as we're conducting our public hearings, but also members of the public or members of parliament, members of provincial legislatures or councillors have raised issues around the service of the Department of Home Affairs in their respective areas. So I felt it's important that what we're getting from at the level of the national, it must also talk to the ground. We've started with Mpumalanga and Limpopo last week. We had a good discussion, though some of the concerns that we've raised, I think the DDG Mavuso has noted in terms of what we've expected the team to brief the committee. We must say that provincial leadership, you must raise issues that are of your concerns and progress to this committee. It's a good opportunity for you to interact with the portfolio committee. And the ball is on your court to, we know that the Director General is here, Deputy Minister is here, DTG is here. You may be afraid to raise some of the issues, so you must raise them. We're giving you that platform to openly, because collectively, members of the committee and yourselves were trying to respond to what South Africans are expecting from ourselves as members of parliament to conduct oversight, but for you to exert services to your communities. So you must feel free to interface with the committee. We know that there are various issues that are being raised by South Africans, the system downtime, infrastructure, understaffing, and the current interim outcome of the SIU report that has been engaged since the sixth parliament. And we think that we're all involved in terms of the engagement around that space. Most important that it also affects some of us in our ranks, in officials who are continuously working against what you have envisaged as an objective work for the department. But we must also applaud where there's excellence in terms of the officials that are working within Batupile principle and upholding our constitution. It's an important area that we need to appreciate and give efforts, DG and the DM. I always say that the DG, even if there are issues that are tough to the committee, he has not missed a meeting or ran away from the issues. And it's a point that we must re-emphasize that where there are difficult issues, he has always attended the committee. In fact, sixth administration, he may have been absent for 4 meetings. And I think that DG, we must appreciate that point. When there are difficult issues, some run away. They don't attend meetings. And I think the point that we want to take you home to Home Affairs, that when there are issues that you think you must be glorified, you come to the meeting. And it's a posture that we have observed for a period of time. We'll get to it when we engage on the matters. Part of the issues that we have raised to conference with the committee when we write letters to you, DG, we are writing informed by members of the community or South Africans who raise issues with members of parliament. Not even the committee here, but members of parliament. And this is an opportunity for us to interact with the executive, Minister, DM, and the DG on any matter that arise or submitted to us. And we've cautiously alerted you that this is the route we're taking because it is important that matters that are raised by South Africans, we table them in the committee and becomes a correspondence of the portfolio committee. I'm fully aware that there's an attempt to refer us to cluster questions in the House. When they must write letters, we must wait for security cluster so that we ask a minister or DM to respond on this and that. You must take it home that we're going to engage with any matter of the department here in the committee. That process is another rule that is guided by the rules of parliament. It's a standard rule. So if there's a matter that must be brought before the attention of the committee, it becomes a matter of the committee, and you must understand that process. We could have sent letters to provincial managers, by the way, now. We could not be here. We could have sent you a letter, you respond when I'm in the office, and then we work like that. So we don't want to establish that wrong practice. That when letters are sent and processed in the committee, we're told that we must refer the matters to parliamentary questions. We know that process. We know that process. All members know that there's an issue, must ask questions, the president, deputy president, ministers. But when there's a committee sitting, there's an issue must interface with, you must be here and interact with. So, Deputy Minister and DG, you must pass that message to the minister. We have a standard program that we're going to engage on. And I know that in our last committee meeting, we had to defer other questions because of time. We've been allocated until 3 o'clock. We've requested for the extension so that we're able to have a good interaction with yourselves as a committee. Once we have concluded all provinces, the committee will sit and assess and have a report and recommendations on how we must engage with. We're still going to invite the IT Environment Director General, the entire team only, that are dealing with IT at Home Affairs. And you must know, DG, that we were fully aware on the status of the IT environment, and all of us. So we'll have that opportunity to interface with the team, so that we're able, and CETA, so that all of us are able to make sure that services have been rendered. Members, I will request that when we engage with the 3 provinces, we'll try to allocate minutes so that they directly raise questions on spot. Otherwise, we will attempt to finish very late, and some of the questions may not have been captured correctly by members, and so that we are specific on the issues that we need to engage on. We are going to receive apologies, noted, and also run on the item number 3 on the correspondence. And then we invite the Deputy Minister to introduce the 3 reports or brief. And then we interact and then we request the Department of Public Works also to brief the committee. And then we'll interact with the issues as per the agenda. That's the standard agenda we're going to work on. I'll now invite Mr. Matonsi.
Good morning. From my side, I've got an apology from Ms. Mohammed. She's off sick. And then also another apology from Ms. Machi. Then also there's an apology from the Ministers of Home Affairs and the Minister of Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. That's all, Chair.
Noted. I think those that they don't know, members of the committee, my name is Musa Chabani, the chair of the committee. Honorable Ross, Honorable Bolman, Honorable Matopa, Honorable Ngubane, Honorable Mokhale, Honorable Hala, Honorable Mkalipi, Honorable Mudisemza, Honorable Jama, Honorable Ngobeni, and all our officials who are here. I will request the DG to introduce the team so that we're familiar with the team. And if there's any apology that need to be noted, also we can note it. DG.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair, and honorable members that are in attendance. Good morning to our colleagues. Good morning, DM. So starting with the Western Cape chairperson, it's Mr. Yusuf Simons. If you can just nod or raise your hand. Mr. Simons is the provincial manager for the Western Cape. He's accompanied by Rory Sang Tlo. Rory Sang is the director of finance in the Western Cape. And then from the Eastern Cape, next to DDG Tulani Mavuso, is Emily Mlangeni, PM, Eastern Cape, accompanied by Pumeza Nchiba, behind Mr. Simons, and then from KZN, Mr. Cyril Mwabe, accompanied by Navin Singh at the back, and then Pumelelo Ntleko, and then Mnetisi Kamede, who is responsible for HR. Pumelelo does the coordination. And then I think from the Western Cape, I forgot Almin behind me. Almin van der Berg is responsible for coordination in the province in the Western Cape. And then, of course, from the department, DDG Tulani Mavuso, responsible for the operations. And then DDG Tulani Segama, Thomas Segama, nearly renamed you DDG, and then Sia Koza, who has now joined the civics team, and then Muzi Njoko, and then Simamisa Nganana, advocate Gaum, together with Luvuyo on the other side. And then the team from HR is represented by the acting DDG HR, Charlotte Mock, together with Samantha Patel. And then I think the team from Public Works will introduce themselves. So that's the team from our side, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to item number 3. We've written letters which are approved by the committee to the department. And I think Mr. Matonsi will indicate what are the issues. Then we'll invite the DM to give indication on the responses.
Good morning. Yes, we did send the letters to the minister. One of the issues was the issue of the digitalization project, wherein the staff that is there, they are complaining about their contract. I think some of them, their contract ended in December, and then it was extended until the end of March, some of them. So there have been those complaints, and then in terms of the contract. Then the other issue was the issue of the Homestead Park in Johannesburg, where the department last year conducted an operation on 18 November. The issue is that there are issues of illegal immigrants that are being employed by the Chinese. So they are requesting the department, together with the Department of Labor, to go back there to ensure that those illegal people are removed. And also the other one is the response on the allegation that were leveled against the DG. And then also there was a letter from Mr. Mukhale on the clarification on the issue of the Section 29 regarding some people who came from the US to South Africa. And then the other issue that I did not include here because Chairperson did go there, it was the issue of Atlantis, the office at Atlantis. I think there's a response as well. So I can give them over to the department just to give us the update.
Okay, thanks very much. We'll just take 10 minutes on the issues. Deputy Minister.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I do have the team which can respond to some of the detailed issues, but I will just take you at a high level on all of them. I think the issue of the digitization project, we have provided the response there. We had staff that we had taken in as part of the presidential employment stimulus project on the digitization. They were given contracts which were for 3 years, because that's when we had anticipated the project to last, and according to the availability of resources for the project. Then those contracts had to come to an end after the 3 years. I can confirm, Chair, today that we are working on the extension of those contracts. I understand that we had given them a short-term extensions, because we had to align with the availability of resources. In the current financial year, we have been given additional resources to deal with the project further. So we will be looking at the extension. The model under which the contracts will be extended will not be the same, due to capacity constraints within Home Affairs to consistently recruit people. But I think DDG Mavuso can then give more detail on that one. Through you, Chair. Or should we take all of them and then, okay. Then I think on the Home State Park Community Forum on illegal immigration, we have provided responses in terms of the work that we are doing there. On the third one, which is the response on the allegations against the DG, we have also provided the response that we have appointed a law firm that is working to investigate the matter. And when the matter is then investigated and concluded, we'll then bring the report to the portfolio committee. And then on item D, I think that one has to do with the question on the member statements, but probably Mr. Mavuso can add on the digitization, and then DG on the other one, with the exception of number C, which I've responded to. Thank you.
Thank you. DDG.
No, thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members. Chair, just to, as the Deputy Minister has indicated, when the project was conceptualized, the idea from the department was that we have a lot of paper records and that we cannot move forward with digital transformation if our paper records and our ability to retrieve documents when people want to do, for example, personal amendments and other related functions. When we are doing investigations, for an example, you find people with an ID, for an example, but when you go and check at the back end, there's no birth record. So we want to ensure that when we are investigating such cases, the records are readily available. So there are a number of functions where you need a set of records that are digitized. Now, this project was established as part of, as I said, a broader digital transformation in terms of converting paper records. But ideally, the framework within which this was contextualized was that we designed the project to contribute, one, the TM has indicated, youth unemployment, but also providing the unemployed graduates with an opportunity to obtain practical workplace experience and develop obvious skills that will enhance their employability. It was not aimed at permanently employing those particular staff members. But secondly, there are no positions within the department within which you can employ them on a permanent basis because the objective was not there. The objective was just to help them to gain workplace experience. So where we are is that the contracts ended in last year. We then extended them in October for up until the 31st of March 2026. The idea was also to align with the financial year because remember, Chair, in our APP, there are targets that we have to achieve in relation to the APP target. Now, what we have said to the team is that we will engage the service provider because we went to the market in November because the current service provider that is helping with the project, their contract was expiring at the end of January. So in November, we went to the market to replace the service provider, but we were not successful because there was only one submission that we received from the bid. Reason being that we were using the CETA's RFP 1183, which allows us to source service providers for that particular work. Now we've had to then to redraft the specs and then go back to the market. In the process, we then extended the contract of the current service provider for 6 months. Now that we are headed to the new financial year from the 1st of April, our view therefore was that while we are recruiting the new service provider, let's then ask the current service provider to onboard and not let the whole cohort go. The entire cohort of 1,725 that is left, to continue working up until the end of July this year. Then once we have appointed a new service provider, there are two possibilities. Is that one, the system can continue working with the new service provider, and also this new service provider will have to augment the capacity to increase the numbers that we currently have. So that's basically where we are, Chairperson. But just maybe to also indicate that there was an issue that they also raised in December in the letter around the closure of the operation in December. Our view was that they needed to take leave. In December, we closed the facility in terms of production, but there were those who were not happy with that. I think they raised it in the letter. We subsequently then agreed that we will not close the facility, we'll continue with the work. And those who took leave, they took leave, and those who wanted to continue working through December, they did continue to do so. So that issue was mute in terms of their reporting to the committee because we had already taken a decision that we're not going to close the operations during that particular period. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. DG?
No, thank you, Chair. So the question that the DM has asked me to respond to, it's a letter or correspondence that we received from Honorable Mukhale on a group that's referred to as a New York Young Republican Club that is alleged to have made racist and anti-Semitic comments or activities under this title, The Young Republicans in New York. What we have done, Chair and Honorable Mukhale, because in the correspondence that we have received, there are no details in terms of the specific people. We are now working with DERCO, our own team, to look at possible identification if there are any South Africans or any links, whether people that will be on our visa or whatever related, whether it's your asylum process or any other activity that can link us to them so that we can then come back to you. That's why we'll leave it until we get the details. We'll then have to pause and come back to you. But in short, it's really to look at whether there's been any violation of Section 29 of the Immigration Act. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Members, is there comment on these three issues? Honorable Roos and Honorable Mukhale and Honorable Kalipe.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so just to comment on the digitization project, I think we do need to remember that that was a presidential project. That was a one-off. There wasn't an expectation of it being a permanent thing. And then later on, the department tried to continue that project so that within the budget that was available, to try their best to extend it as much as possible. So I think we do need to remember that it wasn't originally a Home Affairs project, it was a presidential project that was for a limited time period, and then Home Affairs has sort of extended that as much as they possibly can. So there wouldn't be an expectation, there shouldn't be an expectation of permanent employment out of such an arrangement, Chair. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. No, the response from the department is noted with regards to the matters relating to the digitization. However, Chair, I must indicate that the workers there, because they've subsequently contacted me after that, indicating that they did have an engagement with the DDG, Mr. Mavuso, and they have also raised issues with regards to the employment conditions, because as it has been pointed out that they are under a private company which is doing that work. They've raised labor-related issues in terms of how they are being treated there and all of that. So those are matters that also I think the department, as the one that has contracted this particular company, must not turn a blind eye to such issues and say that, no, these people are employed through a third company and we are not responsible for that. I think it will be responsible to do that. But they've also requested a meeting with myself, those employees, Chair. I must indicate it here, and we'll be meeting with them so that we get more clear picture of what is happening there. Chair, on the issue of the letter that we wrote to the minister, I'm glad that in your opening remarks you did strongly deal with the very arrogant, dismissive response that we received from the Minister of Home Affairs. We are not going to accept it, that response. We reject it with the utmost contempt that it deserves. The minister is a minister of government of the people of South Africa. Us as public representatives who are here representing the people of South Africa, when we write to him, when we bring issues to him, whether through the parliamentary process, whether through letters or whatever, he has a duty to respond. He can't tell us that he won't respond to our letter. We must ask questions. It's very arrogant. Very, very arrogant. So that we dismiss with the contempt that it deserves, Chairperson. Because the issue we have raised is very simple, Chair. And I think members of the Portfolio Committee would have observed that in recent times, Chairperson, there have been a focus by right-wing elements all over the world on South Africa. And they are coming here, they are entering the country. Some of these people are very dangerous. They are banned in certain countries. They are not allowed to enter. But they are entering our country. They hold very dangerous views, very backward views, which are not in line with our constitutional values. But we are allowing them to enter here. And they go and do videos and they post them on the YouTube and other social media space to propagate the notion that there's a white genocide in South Africa. So these are issues that we are addressing, Chairperson, that these people are entering South Africa through the gates, the border gates. So there's somebody who's failing to do diligence on these people, to vet them, to check them, who are these people before they come in. Because Section 29 of our Immigration Act is very clear. If you belong to an organization that holds racist views, anti-Semitic views, you can't be allowed entry in the Republic of South Africa. So we appreciate the response from the DG, and we hope that in due course we'll receive a detailed report on the matter that we have tabled. Thank you very much, Chair.
Noted, thank you. Madam Kalipi.
Thanks very much, Chair. Good morning to you and to colleagues. I won't speak long because my colleague has processed the issues that I wanted to ask, and I agree with him. Chair, just because the DG was talking, it was not very loud and clear. I think it's the microphone. And my colleague already thanked him, but I want to ask the time frame because I'm happy that you dealt with the arrogance of the minister and also Honorable Mkhale. But now, a working department, DG, will be saying, we receive this letter from this honorable member, and the letter or the information that you gave us is not sufficient. So they would have responded by then, instead of coming to the portfolio committee to say, we are going to respond to your letter, but there are no details as per your letter. So I'm correcting that a working department can be proactive like that if we are dealing with the issues that are raised. As you correctly saw, Chair, said, those issues that are raised by members of parliament is not because we want to raise them. It's emanating from the community, especially there are details about this information. I just want to check with the DDG in terms of this project of going to digital. I'm hearing other members saying that there will be no expectation that can be raised. There is an expectation that must be raised. Chair, we are sitting with 9.8 million unemployed in South Africa. So therefore, we can't be correct as members of parliament and come here and said, there's no expectations. It must be expected that people are going to get this employment going forward, especially the youth who's unemployed. Let us correct that, Chair. Secondly, I want to hear the plan of the department because this is long overdue, DDG. Is long overdue. For instance, Chair, if you're outside South Africa and you lost your passport, hey, mina ngibona imhlola mangabe siye kuma oversight international. Ufice ka Home Affairs in Canada, DDG. I think I was with you when I was still serving here. Ufica piles and piles and piles of ama application forms abantu. Nabo basazi bazongena kanjani those applicants. So this issue of going digital DM is long overdue. So we need to get a plan of the department with how to address this. Because we can't be saying that is only the time when the president introduced it. What is the plan of the department to go digital? Even the provinces that are here are going to agree with the committee to say, no, we have to go digital. It can't be a DM, we are young, we are coming from the Youth League. You're supposed to introduce this thing that you are talking about here, instead of relying on manual, because this thing of manual is not helping us. So I just want to get that clarity from the DDG. Hearing you is a project that's just introduced, but what is the plan of the department to address this thing of manual? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ngubane.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. As well on the response to the allegation letter against the DG, we appreciate as well the response from the DM. We would like to understand the timelines, that when was the law firm was appointed and how far is the process, the timeline, so that we know when is the law firm that was appointed, it started, so that we understand that there is a traction and a process on that matter. And then again, Chair, we really concur with Honorable Mkhale. It's actually disgusting that they write a letter to the minister and the minister tell them how they must get information that they seek, to say they must answer, they must ask the questions. So the minister must explain on what basis does he say they must put that as a question. So this is shocking because they wrote this because there's a concern. So the minister is supposed to write straight back to them and respond directly, and not tell them how they must put their question or phrase it or put it in which direction that the question must be responded to. Thank you very much, Chair.
Is there another member? These are things are less. Okay, thank you. DM to respond on the issues. Then I think at the end we'll then establish how we must process the reports that must come back to the committee.
No, thank you, Chair. I think on the last question by Honorable Ngubane, I will request that we respond in writing to give you the time frames of how long it's going to take for the law firm to do their work and then be able to then give you a response there too. I think it will not be proper for us to just respond without having interacted with them and how long they will want to take to deal with the matter. I think on the issue of the digitization project, Chair, I must make it very clear in the committee that our intention is for this project to see its conclusion. That is the more than 350 million records, if I'm correct, I stand to be corrected, that needs to be digitized. Now, as I've indicated, we bumped to the first problem when the resources for the project were allocated to us late. That means for us to be able to build the infrastructure, it took time and so on and so on. But the main stumbling block with regards to the project was attributed to the financial allocation and Home Affairs receiving the funding. As I've indicated that we have now received additional funding to stay true to our commitment, members, even after the funding was not enough, we went back to our own funding base of the department to use those resources so that we could continue with the project and continue to carry on with the staff that we had recruited. Now we have received additional funding, but even that funding is not for the other outer years. It's only for the current financial year. Now it will have been irresponsible of us to say to those young people, we are still taking EU in for 3 years, knowing very well that we do not have the resources to pay for them. And that is what we are working on now. I think one of the things we should do, Chair, is probably, because this is one of the biggest digitization projects in Africa. I may stand to be corrected, but it is my belief we are moving more than 350 million records. So it will be important that we also bring the committee up to speed on the work that has been done. I think at your own convenience, Chair, we would like really to come and present the project in more detail and the impact it's going to have in terms of getting rid of paperless records. On the issue of building digital platforms, we are moving quite with speed. For instance, we have had offices opened in some of international countries to deal with the issue that Honorable Mkhaliphi is talking about, of the delays in how people receive their documents. So a lot of work is being done in that particular aspect, and I think we will be willing to share with the committee. I think we then take the other matters that we have to go back and deal with, and then we'll deal with them and offer responses, Chair. Thank you very much.
Members, what I think I will propose, when we are going to engage with the DG and the TM, with the CETA and the IT team, we must then bring that comprehensive report to the committee. We'll schedule that soon so that we're interfacing with the issues. We'll require that there are timeframes on the issues that have been raised here by members, including the allegation that had been raised, and also the issues that the letter which was been circulated by the committee to the ministry. This item assists us to understand where is the department and how we must respond to the constituencies that we represent here in the committee. I think we'll be noting that front, DM. Members will close this item on that basis that we're going to interface with that. We'll now invite Deputy Minister to introduce the 3 reports, and including the Public Works a brief. DM.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Basically, this is a continuation of the engagements we have had with the committee from from last week, with the engagement subsequent to the visit in various provinces by the portfolio committee. Today, we are then presenting in terms of the operations in KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, as well as the Eastern Cape. We have the provincial managers from those various provinces who will then lead us in terms of the presentations, and they will run through them. DG had already introduced the teams, who will then take them as they appear on your agenda, Chair, with the first one being KwaZulu-Natal, with the PM, Mr. Mwabe, and then the other provinces, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with the KwaZulu-Natal.
Good morning, Chairperson, Honorable Chair. Good morning, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, the DG, and the DM. I'll be taking you through the presentation from my side. The first slide talks just to the content. We'll give you the high level and overview of the province, together with just the map of the province, as well as the district demarcations, the mobile unit allocations, service areas, organizational structure, the governance structure, stakeholder relations. Also, we'll be focusing on the human capacity overview and the human capacity per district, priority posts, and the progress from the staffing committee, as we would know that, and also we'll be giving progress in terms of matters that have been investigated from the counter-corruption and progress on labor relations matters, budget allocation and expenditure and the budget pressures, also the fleet and property. Next slide. The provincial overview. On the provincial overview, KwaZulu-Natal, as we know that, we're just giving a brief background that we have got a population estimated about 12.3 million, and the DHA offices are aligned to 10 district municipalities as well as the metropolitan municipality. With the province has got a total footprint of...
PM, let me just assist.
Thank you.
You don't need to read and all the PMs.
Okay.
Talk to the slide, because already we have a report, we've gone through it, so that you also minimize where important issues
Thank you.
on the slide you can indicate, yeah.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Of importance on this slide is the indication of the footprint in the province from Home Affairs. We've got 155 offices with 57 local offices, 33 mobile units, 62 health facilities, 3 banks and 1 mall. And the approved establishment is 1,966. Currently we have 647 warm bodies, 57 vacant posts, of which 37 are funded and 19 are unfunded. We are in the process of filling 3 office manager positions and 1 ASD labor relations. We have got ports of entries in the province, being the King Shaka Airport, Seaport, Durban and Richards Bay, land ports, Kwalela on Verwag, Kosi Bay, Sanipas and Usman's Neck, and they're not actually reporting to the provincial manager. This is the map of the province with all the district municipalities indicated. The district demarcation footprint in the Umkhanyakude area, we have got Jozini, Shabisa, and Umshabialingana with Mtubatuba, and the offices that are there. We have 1 mobile unit that is in there, plus 1 office, and Umkhanyakude has got 5 health facilities with no permanent staff that is appointed there. When you come down to Zululand, we have got 2 mobile offices, 1 mobile office, 1 mobile, and also 6 health facilities in the Zululand district with only 2 permanent staff members that are currently appointed. Then the next slide talks to the King Cetshwayo situation. The King Cetshwayo situation talks to the issue of the mobile units. We are just focusing on the mobile units. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 mobile units in that district. Of 8 health facilities, we've got 8 health facilities in the King Cetshwayo district with 1 permanent staff member that is currently appointed. With Ilembe, Only 2 health facilities in Ilembe district with 1 permanent staff member that is appointed. We're moving to eThekwini, 13 health facilities in eThekwini with 6 permanent staff members and that are currently appointed. So those are the hospitals that are there. We have indicated them that where we do bed registration. Also, eThekwini is grouped together with Ugu, which is the south coast part of the area, where we also have got the Potchefstroom Regional Hospital with 1 mobile unit and so 3 mobile units in that district, and with 1 health facility that which has got a vacant position for the clerk that is supposed to help us with bed registration. Also, when you go to Umzinyati, these are the health facilities: Church of Scotland, Charles Johnson Memorial with Dundee, and Dundee, 2 mobile units, 1 mobile office, as well as the 3 health facilities in Umzinyati, and there's only 1 vacant post for permanent staff member. Together, we've got 4 hospitals where we are actually registering, as Lady Smith Hospital in Church, as Court Hospital in Mouse. Together, we've got 4 health facilities and 1 permanent staff member that is permanently appointed. And Amajuba, Newcastle Hospital, that's where we are very much active, as well as Nimea Hospital. Amajuba has got 2 health facilities with only 1 vacant post for permanent staff member. Herigwala and Umkungundlovu, these are the 2 districts that are grouped together for purposes of management. We have in Herigwala, there is 4 health facilities with only 1 permanent member staff that is currently appointed, and within Umkungundlovu, we have got 3 health facilities with 2 permanently appointed staff member. Provincial senior management structure. There is a provincial manager, which is myself, supported by the Director of Finance, Mr. Singh is in the house. Also supported by the provincial coordinator, Ms. Ntlego is also in the house. And within also reporting directly to the PM is the counter-corruption unit, Mr. Kalega, and also the vetting and security unit under Mr. Mtembu. For the purposes of managing the province, we're trying to align with the municipal demarcations. eThekwini, Metro, and Ugu are grouped together for the purposes of management under the district manager operation, Mrs. Tasia Smith. And we've got under Mrs. Smith, the front office managers. There's 10 front offices with 18 health facilities, 5 mobile units, and 1 mall, and 3 banks. Under King Cetshwayo, we've got Mrs. Luhwengu, who's the district manager operations. King Cetshwayo and Ilembe are managed by the Mrs. Luhwengu, with 12 front offices, 11 health facilities, 5 mobile offices. Amajuba, Tugela, and Umzinyati, they are under the Mrs. Van der Merwe, who's acting with the appointed DMO, retired about 2 months ago. So we've got Mrs. Van der Merwe, who's also acting there. They are responsible for 8 front offices with 11 health facilities, 8 mobile offices. And Umkungundlovu and Herigwala district manager operation is Mrs. Paulson, Charmaine Paulson, front office managers, with 11 front offices, 11 health facilities, and 6 mobile offices. And Zululand and Kanyagute, they are also together under the leadership of Mrs. Shandu. We've got 16 offices under that, with 11 health facilities, as well as 9 mobile offices. It must be noted, Chairperson, that all the managers that are running these districts are females in KZN. Provincial governance structures, we always have our top management meeting, which sits quarterly. That basically attendance is by the Provincial Executive Committee, and what matters that we discuss there is performance on AOP and APP targets, the finance matters, audit findings, counter-corruption, security vetting status, and so forth. Then we have got a broader forum where we meet in that meeting, where we bring all the office managers in the provincial management meeting. The first one would be like an EXCO kind of meeting that takes place. Then we've got a provincial budget committee meeting, and also the provincial consultative forum. What is important around the
Provincial Consultative Forum is where we discuss labor-related matters with unions that are admitted into the department. The rest of them, of the meetings are internal. Then we also, stakeholder relations, chairperson, we participate in the Provincial Justice Crime Prevention and Security Cluster in the province, as well as the Cabinet, KwaZulu Natal Cabinet Lekgotla. We also attend that. We've got a Provincial Efficiency Enhancement Committee that is led from the judiciary by the Chief Justice, Judge President of the province, and we also participate there. There's also the Provincial Joint Operation Intelligence Structure. We also take a part there. Provincial Independent Electoral Commission structures, and when they would need us to be part of that, we also go and provide whatever assistance. Also participating in the Provincial Social Cluster departments. Those are the structures that we attend. Human capacity overview, as previously indicated, currently the province is operating at 647 against 1,966. There is a significant gap between the approved structure and the current establishment. The current 37 funded posts with only 4 posts in the process of being filled. So at the present moment, we are currently filling the posts of office managers. That is for Scott Beck, office manager, as well as Stenger office manager, as well as prospecting office manager position. We've got in civics 84 vacated position, with immigration having 14 vacated posts. To begin addressing critical capacity, 7 prioritized posts have been submitted to the staffing committee. What is currently happening is that as the posts become vacant, we submit to the staffing committee, and what we have currently received is the advert for the office managers, which are very much of a priority because we can't allow an office not to have anybody that is leading the office. So this is the human capacity per district, and we have given all the information, Chairperson. I'm not sure whether I should go through each and every area, but the indication is there that talks to the to the number that we have indicated as the current vacancies. That's human capacity slides. Right. Priority posts that we have submitted one for the district manager operations, which is for the Amajuba, Utugela and Umzinyati, and this is the picture that we have submitted. Staffing committee progress, and I take it that members have familiarized themselves with this particular one, and also the gaps that have been identified. When we move into the area of counter-corruption, Chairperson, we have given the information as per the districts. In the Zululand and Umkhanyakude, number of reported cases were 5, and all those cases have been, 4 of them have been closed, and there is one that is still in progress, which is a matter that was referred to employee engagement for disciplinary action. Under King Cetshwayo, there's been 6 reported cases of corruption, and the nature of the cases are indicated there. All of them have been finalized and closed. Under eThekwini and Ugu 12, the status, it varies. There are those that are in progress and those that have been closed. And those that are in progress mainly would be the ones that have been referred to employee engagement for disciplinary action. When you go down to Umkhanyakude and Umzinyati, there's 2. And the one is in progress and the other one has been closed. So when you, the other work that my unit also works on has been assisting the Eastern Cape in terms of assisting with some investigations when they needed some capacity. So and also the national office. There's 3 cases that my unit has been involved in, where the one that was for the Eastern Cape is still in progress and the outcome is not yet out. And the one for the national office, it is a closed issue. The suspect was arrested and everything is fine. Johannesburg and Jan Kempdorp, they're still in progress. That is my unit that is participating in other provinces as rendering the assistance, because I believe that they are saying that my unit does understand and they are able to move with speed in terms of the cases. Labor relations matters, 4 cases within the eThekwini district, and basically a misconduct and lawful release of illegal immigrants. That case is still in progress. In Zululand, there is 1. It's misconduct around the irregular cancellation of an ID on the NPR, and it's in progress. eThekwini district is misrepresentation, 1 matter that is still in progress. eThekwini district as well, misconduct, reprint of a death certificate. It's finalized, the person got written warning. eThekwini district also as well, it's misconduct, irregular printing of death certificate, and it's in progress. Zululand 1. King Cetshwayo, we've got 2, and those are still in progress. eThekwini local office 1, it's also in progress. Zululand 1 is finalized, final written warning issued. The provincial budget. At the present moment, the budget is 350,103,000. The expenditure, the expenses to date is 290 million. So what the available budget currently is 58,642,000, and the percentage spent is 83. And the budget pressures, the fuel is basically on the fuel, oil, and grease. The province chairperson has just received a new fleet of vehicles. That is why we're putting it as a budget, as an expenditure pressure. We first received 7 sedan vehicles that we had to allocate to individual offices, and over and above, we have received about 8 of immigration caged vehicles that have been given to the province, and we never had budgeted for that. Over and above, there is a unit that is responsible for deportation, where we received a bus, 2 canters, and a caged vehicle. So all those vehicles, so we are indicating that it's a budget pressure there, because that fuel, oil, and grease would have to be in tires as well, maintenance and repairs, toll fees as well. This talks to 6,878,000. Provincial fleet allocation, eThekwini, Metro, and Ugu, there's 32 vehicles. Number of vehicles that have been given, new vehicles that have been procured for this financial year is 2. Zululand and Umkhanyakude, they've got a fleet of 27 across all the offices, and we've allocated further 2 that has been procured this financial year. King Cetshwayo and Ilembe, 22. They have received 3 in this financial year. Amajuba, Tugela, and Umzinyati, there's 27, and we've allocated another 2 to the offices within that district. Umgungundlovu and Erikwala is 25, and there's 3 that has already been allocated to some of the offices there. Provincial office Umgungundlovu, we've got 8 that are servicing the provincial office, with an additional 1 that has been allocated from the new acquired vehicles. Mobile unit expenditure and projection, as we have got 33 mobile units in the province, chairperson, and some of those mobile units, the functional ones, are the ones that basically are doing the roaming. I've got 7 that are stationary in supplementing in the offices that were previously not modernized. Those 7 are not moving, basically. So the ones that are moving, this is basically the mobile expenditure and the projected expenditure as we move forward. Deportations, we have seen quite a number of increase in terms of the deportation. As I've indicated, that we have got now a dedicated unit that is pushing the deportation. The actual expenditure today, we have 217,000 with a projected expenditure of 43,529. Total expenditure is 261. The travel and subsistence is also 849. Budget pressures, inadequate staff capacity, as I've indicated, that we have got, we're supposed to be at 1911, but we are currently at 644. At Connected Hospital, where there is no staff to capture beds, this results in the EPR which is early birth registration 30 days and between 0 to 30 days being lost due to staff available to, those staff available to capture on site at the hospitals. For support staff in asset management, supply chain, in order for them to assist in achieving the clean audit when it comes to the assets management and verification and accounting on that. So the additional capital expenditure, we have got these vehicles that have indicated that they've just been procured and given to the to the province, that would also come with an expenditure that we're supposed to carry. On the budget pressures is lack of proper office accommodation. The impact of this is as follows. Service delivery to citizens suffer as the result of office that cannot accommodate clients waiting for services and does not have enough space with their smaller offices. The department also pays excessive rental in the dilapidated old buildings due to inability of DPWI to hold the landlord accountable. We have a serious problem around that issue, and the pressure, we believe that the pressure should be exerted on the DPWI to ensure that the HA offices adverts are published so that we can secure adequate office space that will assist us to ensure a proper service delivery to citizens. The performance under civic services, birth registration within 30 days, calendar days, where the annual target is 140,886. The target for quarter 3 is 107,650. The performance is 102, but the latest performance that we are now on the last month of the of the quarter. Currently, we are now at 130,293. That is up to yesterday. So there has been a push that has been made in terms of towards attaining the target of 140,886. On the late registration of birth, 31 days to 14 days, we have got to ensure that 80% is registered within 180 days, calendar 180 days, and the performance is 23,002 at 86%. On the late registration of birth, 15 years and above, finalized within 120 days, we've got performance is 1,233. The performance is at 15%. On the smart ID cards, we have exceeded the target already. Our target is 374,990, and the performance to date is 568,663, which is 205%. So we have exceeded and we have already achieved on the smart ID target. And on the smart ID cards issued, we are supposed to, the target is the same as the target on the applications, 374,990, and we have also performed at 520,174, which is 188% performance. On the late registration of birth, 31 days to 1 year, the received were 15,000, the adjudicated is 15,790, because those ones that are done on the spot and the certificate issued on the spot in the particular office. Also, the 1 year to 7 years, 522 was the opening balance, and they received, and the adjudicated is 6,238, and the closing balance is 2,637. 7 to 14, opening balance, and they received 1015 with 974 that has been adjudicated. 15 years and above, we have got a closing balance of 6,758, and the adjudicated is 1,233. So when you look at the totals, the total under the totals as they stand, opening balance is 12,820. The received were 21,778. The adjudicated is 24,235 with a closing balance of 10,363. Provincial Immigration Services performance on the number of inspectorate law enforcement operations conducted, The annual target is 422, and the performance is 458. It amounts to 153%. On the detected employers in contravention of the Immigration Act, 100% thereof, so we have done 100% of 115. That has been employers that have been detected in contravention of the Immigration Act. On the detected transgressors in contravention of the Act, we're supposed to be 100%. We have done 2,710, which is 100%. Undocumented foreigners deported within 13 calendar days. For this period of reporting, which is Q1 up to 3, we have done 948, that is our 100% that we have done. And the detected undocumented, on the first one, the deported within 30 days, we're talking of the direct deportation. That is when we go take those foreign nationals directly to the border gates that are surrounding the province. So we've done 948. That would talk to Lesotho, talk to the Swaziland, to those border gates. Then there are those that we have to take them to, that's why we call them transfers to Lindela, because that is, we can't say we have completed a deportation as a province. We have to take those people to Lindela that will then do the final deportation. So the transfers to Lindela so far is 2,141. That is our 100%. Provincial readiness for local government. We are saying the strategy is to identify areas with high volume of uncollected IDs. We'll involve the local municipalities, community leaders, and community workers, and we'll begin by the 1st of July to ensure that we embark on the plan. And the intended outcome is to ensure that there is the reduction of the uncollected documents in the offices. We'll also try and work on the marketing and communication strategy. We do have some generous slots that are being given to us by some of the radios, where we will be utilizing those slots that are given to us to talk about the issue of the reduction of the uncollected IDs, and we'll also be talking to school principals, community radios, also the community leaders and community workers and social media in all the districts. Mobile deployment in schools. We know that there are those learners that are likely to be eligible to vote in the next coming local government elections. We do have programs of the schools outreach programs that is done by our mobile units, and also we ensure that once we have taken applications through the mobile units, we'll be going back to those schools and also ensure that we issue the IDs into those schools. On the voter registration weekend, we'll have our offices open to be able to issue the enabling documents to all the South African citizens that they are eligible to vote. We're also looking at the fast tracking of the registration of late registration of birth adjudication. We have come up with a strategy to ensure that we reduce. We are having a proxy that is given now to the district manager operations to also run the 15 years and above within their district, so that they don't have to wait for the provincial manager to come and do the late registration of birth. The proxy entitles the district manager operations to be able to continue with that. Then we apologies. Why am I stuck now? It's not moving. Stuck. Doesn't want to move. Move.
What's happening?
Stuck. It's not moving. Changing it. Yes. Right.
Then you must click here.
Okay. Right, fine. On the uncollected IDs, we're just giving a picture of the uncollected IDs. The uncollected IDs as it stands here, we have until December 2025, 105,878, and the age analysis there on is 15 years to 35 years, and on the reissues is 36 to 80 years. Uncollected green barcoded IDs, we have given breakdown as per the districts. And that is what we will be working towards to ensure that we try and decrease the numbers as they've been indicated in the slides. The provincial governance and risk mitigation, civic services. Provincial risk is the fraudulent birth registration that we see as a risk, and what we are doing in terms of mitigation, we're promoting and encouraging birth registration at health facilities, because if we continue in some of the offices, we pose a serious risk in terms of this, and therefore we're promoting that we do almost every birth in the hospitals, and we're also trying to also ensure that we have got officials that are roaming to ensure that they cover some of the hospitals that do not necessarily have got staff that is assisting in those hospitals. The fraudulent application of smart ID cards, we're promoting the strong adherence to the standard operating procedures on smart card applications. And on support services, the theft of cash collected by officials, we are promoting the cashless transaction, that all the offices in the province should ensure that we do not actually accept cash, and that is not going to necessarily disadvantage some of the vulnerable, because if it's an ID for the above 60, we do not charge them any money, so there is no reason for them to be paying. And also the first-time applicants for the IDs, it's a free issue, so there is no need for them. It's basically on passports as well as on the reissues. So we are saying let's promote the cashless transaction, as we do have some speed points that we can utilize in the offices. And then in the inadequate resources on financial and human capital, that we're saying that we'll try and utilize and be efficient in terms of utilization of the allocated resources, but the budget cuts and limited resources are the contributing factors, and the effective and efficient utilization of the allocated resources, and also identification of priority posts to the staffing committee would have to be taken as a priority. Provincial support that is required. We are basically asking for the system stability improvement, because the system stability is posing as a serious challenge, and it impacts in terms of service delivery. Then in the inadequate staffing capacity to meet service demands, we have seen that the staffing committee has always been asking us to ensure that we identify those critical posts that are for advertising to be approved, and we are saying that we will continue to submit our needs as a province for funding by the staffing committee. And we have at least in the area of immigration been given another additional 10 posts for the province, where there were 12 basically that had gone into the staffing committee, but 10 has been allocated to KZN and 12 to the two to the Western Cape out of the 12. So we are saying that we'll continue to submit to the state, to the committee for consideration of some of the shortcomings in terms of the staff. Office infrastructure that is not fully compliant with occupational health and safety. So we have got closed offices in the province where we have got serious challenges. And I believe that maybe DPW and I will be able to tell us what else can we do. In Pietermaritzburg, that in the office, the physical location of the office is such that we are unable to accommodate the clients when they come to do their business in Pietermaritzburg, only when they have gone into the office. Generally, they would have to queue on the road outside. And there is no way that we could put shelters there, because it's a pavement, it's a municipality area. So that we have been asking for us to get an alternative accommodation, and we have submitted to DPW and I, and we have been unsuccessful in terms of that. In Stenga, we're at a building that is under construction, and we are told that the contractor deserted the building, and we wanted to move out of the current building, because that current building is not user-friendly, especially for the people with disability, because there is no lift and we are on the first floor of that particular building. There is not a lift for the people with disability. They've got to be literally carried up the stairs. And in Stenga, that building was that building construction was stopped, and we have nothing is moving. In Ulundi, we have been operating in the old KwaZulu government legislature there, and that building was condemned last year in February already. Up to today, we are still operating in the mobile trucks there. So staff is operating from the mobile trucks, and therefore it's really not actually assisting us, and we're not getting any indication from Public Works, as well as Bulwa. Bulwa, the contractor, deserted the work as well there, and we are only operating now from a mobile truck that is stationary there, and we're trying to assist the clients from a mobile truck. Nongoma, we are housed within the Department of Justice, and Department of Justice is asking us to get out of that place, and we're trying with an alternative accommodation. We haven't been successful. Harding as well, it's a small office that you can't even accommodate more than 2 clerks inside there, and it's so difficult, very, very difficult. And Umsinga, we have been given an undertaking by the municipality that they can give us extra space within the area where we are. So we have engaged with the municipality, and we have also engaged with the DPWNI and indicated that there is space that is offered by the municipality so that we can extend our office in there. And in Bergville, we are operating in a mobile truck, but there is a two-song center that was made available, and DPW has not finalized the necessary documentations for us to take our occupation. Slow or no progress on infrastructure improvement or the acquisition by Public Works. The budget constraints affecting effective service delivery. Insufficient funding for the deportation. We're putting that as a budget pressure for deportation as well, because we have appointed 3 officials that are dealing with the issues of deportation, basically transfers to Lindela. And with the vehicles that have been given to us, there is no additional budget that has been made available for us to be able to take to move forward. The slide talks to the provincial contacts, and that's for the noting by the members. This includes from the provincial office managers, as well as the district manager operations. It's a continuation. And thank you very much, Chairperson. That would be the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, PM. We now move on to the presentation from the Western Cape delegation.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Good morning, Honourable Chair. Good morning, Honourable Members. Good morning, Deputy Minister, DG, DDGs, and everyone present. So I'm going to follow the example that the Chairperson asked us to do, and some slides I will take as read and give summaries, and some I'll just touch on deeper highlights, which I think is more significant for the committee to note. So again, the committee is familiar with these 2 slides. It's the overview, provincial context, provincial resources, the provincial performance, the provincial readiness for local government elections. We'll go to risks and risk mitigations, and then the provincial contact details. So the overview, Chairperson, what we put in the overview is areas of development in the Western Cape that we thought is significant and will have an impact on Home Affairs. Firstly, it's the Saldanha Vredenburg area. Now, as everyone would probably know, is that the Port Saldanha is the largest and deepest natural harbor in the Southern Hemisphere, and the largest iron and ore export facility on African soil. It fills about 16 to 20 vessels per month. So it's a fast-growing industrial hub in the Western Cape, with informal settlements surrounding the areas being established, both legal and illegal, Chair. So that puts pressure on us and a responsibility on us to be more visible in that developing area. Secondly, Chair and members, is what Western Cape is known for is fires, fire disasters. Not unique to Western Cape, but I'm sure very prevalent to Western Cape. So in last year, this financial year, we already had 24 fire disasters that we had to attend to, and all of them successfully concluded. The last one was just last week when Deputy Minister went to the Noon. We were there for 5 days, Chairperson, and we handed out IDs to more than 1,200 victims of that. And I must say, the IDs were free, of course, and we also issued birth certificates. So we have established response team. We have established SOP we follow. As soon as we get a call that there's a fire disaster, we see in the media there's a fire disaster, we activate that, and DG is always available to take a call and quickly approve the waiving of fees for the fire victims. The next one, unique to Western Cape, is the shelters, the temporary shelters that was created at the refugee centers in Wingfield and Payne City, Chair, in 2009, during the COVID legacy. And we thought that time would be just a temporary shelter for a short term of time. But as Chairperson and members would know, those shelters are still there. The Department of, the City of Cape Town, Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, as well as Home Affairs, are in the process of obtaining an eviction order. But currently, we do provide, as a department, we provide the shelter, ablution facilities, and electricity. At Payne City, there's about 160 occupants now. No, 500 in Payne City and 160 in Wingfield. But as the members would know that the 10 burned down last year in Wingfield, but they have created temporary shelters that side. Then, Chair, the other one significant to Western Cape is the agricultural gross value added, which is concentrated in the Cape Metro and the Cape and the West Coast areas, which together generates the largest share of provincial agricultural output. Now, again, Chair, this environment, agricultural output, increases the number of seasonal workers, particularly from Lesotho, and mostly remain after the season. And that places a strain on our resources, particularly West Coast, Ceres area, the Noon area, to ensure that our law enforcement really deals with those situations, Chair. When we get to deportation, Chair and members, we'll show the number of deportations, direct deportations to Lesotho that we also had to undertake from the Western Cape. This is the map of the Western Cape, as indicated, the different districts. I think significant here, Chair, is the population growth to more than 7 million in the Western Cape. I can remember not long ago we were at 5 million, now we're more than 7 million, which indicates a bigger pressure on us, longer queues, Chair, more applications, puts a strain on the resources in the Western Cape. In terms of Home Affairs, the number of applications has increased. The number of, when we get to the targets as well, we'll see that the number of smart card applications has increased as well for us. We have 5 districts, Chair and honorable members. We are represented in all 5 districts. There's 20 local municipalities. Out of the 24, we are present in 20 of them. There's only 4, Bergrivier, Overstrand, Hessequa, and Knysna, where we don't have a representation. But we have mobile units that service these areas, Chair. And I'll come later to the Overstrand and Hessequa area, where we are in the process of having a fixed office established in those local municipalities. Then this is a summary slide, honorable members and Chairperson, just a high level on the footprint and access for clients. So we have 30 offices in the Western Cape, 30, of the 5 districts and 1 metro here in Cape Town. 17 of them have immigration capacity, and there's a breakdown on immigration capacity later on. But significant for us is that 28 of the 30 are modernized. And we'll come to the other 2 that's not currently modernized. So it's 90% of our offices are modernized. And it's split across rural and urban areas. We also have a mall in Tiger Valley that's bookings only, that does IDs and smart card. And then we have a permanent contact point that the municipality is providing for us in Ladysmith free of charge. We go there twice a week. We have a proof of concept office on Epping. We call it the Epping model. It's a one-stop model, also on a booking. And then we have 23 connected hospitals. I think that's significant for the committee as well. 23 connected in the Western Cape and 5 fully functional banks. We have 15 mobile units operating, and we'll come down to the breakdown shortly. And 1 provincial archive. One archive where if you have archives, instead of keeping all those documents stacked up in offices, we move them to our Belleville office. That's our provincial archiving unit. And then part of the comments, Chair, is that Laingsburg office, we are currently busy with the web-based system modernization of Laingsburg office. It will be concluded before the end of March this year, financial year, which means that we will move to 99%, almost 98% of offices modernized in Western Cape. All these offices that we have are backed up with generators. And our Swellendam office is the only office not modernized, Chair. But it's a reason for that. In 2023, there were uprising in the community, and the community burned down the Tusong Center. And Home Affairs was a victim of this violence because we have an office in the Tusong Center. So unfortunately, overnight, we have no office in Swellendam. But we have created a temporary office, which the municipality has provided to us, and we are there now on a daily basis for that community. This is just organogram, Chair. That's me on top in my younger days, Chair, and this is the team that's supporting us. There's just good thing to say is there's only one acting person and one acting DMO. Everyone else is fully appointed. This is just the breakdown of the demarcations. The one is Musakauli in the Cape Metro and the Overberg. What we had to do, Chair and members, is we have 6 districts, as I indicated, 5 plus 1 metro, but only 2 DMOs. So 6 divided by 2, you can see it's like 3. Everyone has to do 3 districts, but we have an acting person in the George area, so every DMO has their own district and additional district. So they go the extra mile in terms of the workload on them. So what we've even done in the Cape Metro, because as the members would probably know, is that 60% of the population in the Western Cape is centralized in the Metro. So the high volume offices and clients are in the Metro. So what we've done in red there is that the Mitchells Plain and Somerset West office, which is part of Ms. Sakauli's responsibility, we have made an alternative arrangement, and the DMO of the Cape Winelands is taking responsibility for that, so that we just share the workload and balance that a bit more. So there's the connected hospitals, the banks, and the offices in the Cape Metro area. So I'm just going to go faster through these slides. This is the Cape Winelands and Overberg, Cape Winelands and West Coast Director, Ms. Michaels, with their areas of responsibility. There's 2 banks in that particular district. And this is the acting person in the George area, the acting DMO, and the officers, the collected facilities. There's no banks in that particular, in the Southern Cape as we call it. And of course, no mall yet. Let me say yet, because we are looking at a possibility in the Plettenberg Bay area where we have a very small, tiny office, and there's a huge mall that's been opened a few years ago that we are very interested to move there, because also our numbers are very high in the Plettenberg, Knysna area, Chairperson. This is the governance structure. Every second Monday we have a EXCO, we have a provincial extended management meeting, we have a consultative forum meeting. This is important. Quarterly we meet with organized labor and we sit down on matters of mutual concern. We have our immigration committee and our immigration indaba as well, to make sure that that's unified processes, unified actions, unified approaches to operations in the immigration space, particularly to the audit compliance, Chair, and we also do some drilling, Chair, drilling and saluting, because one of the key important aspects of a law enforcement unit is discipline. This is the mobile units, Chair. I'll take it as read. These are the 15 mobile units, how they are allocated, and the different areas that they service in the Western Cape where we don't have an office. You can see chairperson and members, it's quite extensive number of areas that these 15 mobile units must cover. Now, Chair, let me just go slower a bit on these next two slides. I think it's very topical at the moment. The one is the BAP system, where we have found in the Western Cape, probably I've spoken to the PM of Gauteng, similar happening there, is the hijacking of booking slots by individuals, Chair. They are really manipulating our booking slots. So the good intention doesn't come to fruition, because there's a number of clients complaining that even if they go 12 o'clock on a booking slot, it's fully booked. It's very difficult to get a slot in the metro offices, Chair. And so clients have to drive to Somerset West or Grabouw or Caledon, which is 100 k's away, because they can't get a slot here, because there's individuals who are booking all the slots at the price, Chair. And they ask exorbitant amounts, depending on how urgent you need a slot for this. So it's something that we've been fighting since December, and we'll go to the impact and strategies now and going forward of how to deal with this. So as I mentioned, this results in clients leaving frustrated. They can't get slots. There's long queues because some bookings are duplicate. So they get a slot, they show us a slot from an agent that they bought, but that slot has been taken by somebody else in the office already. So it causes friction and sometimes violence, because the person says, I paid, and here's my slot, but there's somebody else in that slot, Chair. So the Tiger Valley incident that happened earlier this year, Chair, that was due to a double booking. Unfortunately and sadly, the client did not have a booking, and it resulted in an incident, Chair, that's there. I must say also, just as an update, which update I got yesterday, is that the client did open a criminal case against our officials, Chair, but the senior prosecutor, as it's a nollie prosecution, has indicated there's not enough evidence and not going to pursue the prosecution in this regard. But what we have done, Chair, is we laid criminal charges with SAPS against these persons who make the main person who makes these bookings. We call them, they're stealing the slots and selling a Chair. Because it's in contravention of POPIA Act, the person uses ID numbers of people without their permission, Chair. And so that case is still ongoing with the police. So what we're doing in mitigation, so these slots then, IS is alerted, so IS then remove these illicit bookings, Chair, linked to the agents. We verify first if there's illicit booking, we then inform the clients. And I must say most clients accept it because they go back and get a refund and then do bookings the normal way, Chair. And there is a process and a recommendation to IS head office, which the CIO I think is leading, is to restrict the access, the IP address, because the person uses an email address, an IP, to restrict that, and also to look at appointments, limited that to 30 days, Chair. So it's a review going forward. We need to review the booking system, which is currently in process, because we know that IT now, they proactively are removing these illicit or double bookings for us, and that helps. And we also need to review how the slots are being managed for a better client experience, Chair. Apologies, Chair, I took a bit longer on this slide because I know it was topical.
Apologize. Yeah, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Then, Chair, another topical issue that we're bringing here is the unique to Western Cape, is the closure of the Atlantis office. Now, Chairperson, in your opening remarks, you did indicate that the department did respond in writing, so this is just a summary of that. So the Atlantis office, Chairperson and members, were in a Tusong center, and it was not OHS compliant. We were closed a few times. We even had a court case of a member of the public who fell in the toilet because it was wet inside and it was feces, etc. So it was a terrible state. The clients outside also, it was in an area where there's high gangsterism. So clients were being robbed and harassed by gang members. I went there myself, Chair, and I was told that if you give me 200 Rand now, you don't need to queue. So if you leave your car there and you come back and you don't pay, your car will be damaged, Chair. So it was a terrible situation. At one point, we even wanted to close it. because the staff were complaining that they were being threatened by gang members that if they don't give these slots, they'll follow them home and they'll injure them. So it was at a bad state. So we received a order from the municipality, City of Cape Town, that in June last year, Chair, that by the end of December, our lease will not be renewed. And that put us in a predicament because 6 months is a very short time to get a new office, Chair. You know, the processes takes very long. So what we currently have is we have a birth registration full-time at the Westfield Hospital, and we have dedicated mobile units on Thursdays and Tuesdays, which a facility the municipality is providing. But the clients were really outreached for a short period in the beginning of February when we were struggling to get a fixed venue for the mobile units, Chair. So we have been trying to secure accommodation here in Atlantis. It's a small town, so accommodation is not readily available. They have one mall, so we were very happy and relieved that we could secure a space there, which Mr. Nkasana will probably speak to later on, or Public Works, a chairperson. So as I indicated, we are there now on a full-time, on a part-time basis. We also have mobile units going to schools regularly and engage with the principals. And so the next step, the progress going forward now, is to establish a permanent office in the mall. Is key, Chair, is to have the lease signed, is to get approval from Public Works to have the lease signed so that we can do the infrastructure refurbishments and then move into that in that particular office. Chair, the other one topical issue we want to bring here, because some members have emailed me some concerns about Somerset West office, Chair. I went there myself, spent a few days there to look at interventions, staff attitude, there was allegation of corruption, and we did arrest one of the officials, Chair, for financial misconduct. She is now put in a resignation, and the case is still ongoing, Chair. So we have reassigned the office manager. There are serious issues that we are looking at. We have conducted a full audit. I just received the report last week from counter-corruption and the full audit, Chair. We have provided additional supervisory support, but also there's one funded post that will be advertised now. It's been prioritized, Chair, so that we can bring in leadership in that particular office. So it's an area that we had to go in and intervene, myself and the DMO directly, and spend days in this office. But we are in a process of turning around that particular office. Chair, now I'll go a bit faster, honorable members. This is the...
You say that you did not need a parliamentary question. So what we're trying to do, just saying in terms of immediate intervention, just raising with your DM that could not wait for parliamentary written question to the House, and then you respond to us without an intervention from the Grand Force. I think you can proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. The next is the stakeholder. I'm sure the honorable members and yourself, Chair, would know the stakeholder relations and what's there for. For example, we have them as all other provinces have, with the South African Police Service, with Justice Department, with the NPA, with social development, with local government, with SASSA, with the Funeral Directors Federation. We actually have a close working relationship on their appointments. I know the Deputy Minister has met them. Also, there's local municipalities that we have arrangement with, the Western Cape IEC. We attend all the meetings when invited. We share mobile unit itineraries. The Western Cape Education Department for schools as well, Chairperson. So all of this, I'll take the slide as read. These are our continuous stakeholder engagements we have with our partners, Chairperson and members. In terms of provincial resources, this is the capacity we have. So we have 526 members in the Western Cape. 341 in that 30 offices I indicated, Chairperson. 341 of frontline staff, 16 hospital clerks, 17 mobile operators and staff, 71 immigration officers, 2 DMOs out of the 6 districts, 5 district IT managers. We have 6 districts, but 5 of them, so some of them share some districts. 57 support staff, that's HR, finance, etc., across the province. We have 14 cleaners. This is Home Affairs appointed cleaners, Chair, but it's not the contract, which I'll come to now because the contract adds additional cleaners, and 3 permanent security guards in addition to the security contract work that we have as well, Chairperson. We've also established, I think this is important because of the number of arrests we are doing, we established a Western Cape deportation team. We appointed 2 immigration officers and 1 control officer dedicated to deportations, Chair, dedicated to the bus, to the canter. So they, every 2 weeks at minimum, sometimes weekly, they get into that bus and the canter, and Landela is the furthest point from Western Cape, and they travel there, Chair. We have done 32. We'll get to that slide now, but I'll bring it forward. 32 of these deportations. So you can see it put a lot of strain on this team, and that's why we have a dedicated team and other officials that spend time with the deportations, Chair. As you know, important part of lawful operation, law enforcement operations, is the end part, which is the deportations, Chair, and that's why we put a lot of emphasis on deportations. Chair and honorable members, this is the capacity and percentages, the approved structures per district, and the percentages, as it looks there, it's not too bad, Chair. When I say not too bad, I'm looking at 30%. I'm looking at the 41% in Stellenbosch, 39% in Paarl. But you look at the office, like, for example, Robertson, which has got 75%, 3 officials. But that's out of 4, Chair. So the 75% is a bit misleading because there's only 4 officials. If 2 take sick or 2 land sick, you sit with 2 officials. So this is the nature of, there's an office like Citadel with 3 officials. There's some with 5 officials, Chair. So the percentages look high, but it's because the approved establishment is a bit it's a bit smaller for that office. Chair, here again, more statistics. Some offices with 100%, like Grabouw and Swellendam. The office with 0%, it's Epping and Tiger Valley, but that's on the structure, Chair. But we have relief officials there in Epping. We have relief officials in Tiger Valley. Tiger Valley now, a head of assistant director has been advertised, Chair, so we'll be filling that post. Riversdale is a future office, Chair, which I'll get to the lease agreements later on in the presentation. So maybe just on the last slide, so funded post, we have 1,000 unfunded approved, 1,072, that's our structure. And we at 526 filled posts. So in Western Cape, we had 49, almost 50% capacity in the Western Cape. This is the funded post that we have received now. Chair, the vacant post that we have, the total is 21 vacancies. We have received 10 funded posts now, Chair. That's the breakdown of the funded posts. I'm sure the members have seen that. So we are very happy, for example, the Assistant Director, Labour Relations. We do not have Assistant Labour Relations person in Western Cape, so our cases are being handled from head office, Chair. So when we get to the slide on counter-corruption, we have to refer our cases to Labour Relations in Pretoria to finalize for us. But the good news is, on Thursday, we're doing shortlisting for this post, and probably before the end of April, we'll have then an appointment made a chairperson. So this is good news for us. We're trying to get from 1 April appointee in place for our Labour Relations. Chair and honourable members, this is our statistics from our counter-corruption unit. We have 2 members, full-time members of counter-corruption dealing with our cases, 1 a deputy director and 1 assistant director. These are the number of cases per district and the fraud, corruption, or unethical behavior nature of these cases, Chair. Where it's indicated the case has been finalized, our counter-corruption has indicated those cases has been, there's either no evidence, the case has been withdrawn, and where it says 1 handed to EE, that means to Labour Relations, employee engagement. So out of the 9 in Cape Metro, the 9 cases they had and investigated and finalized, only 1 of them was handed for further disciplinary action to employer wellness. So in total at the bottom, Chair, there's been, let me also just focus on head office. They've done 7 cases for our head office, and they've done 19 cases for other provinces as well. That brings the total to 49. They finalized 48, and 18 of the 48 they finalized, Chair. 18 is now with labor relations for disciplinary action. This is the budget, Chair, the allocation of our budget. Our Director of Finance is right behind me, Ms. Flo, and indicated that yesterday we had our meeting, our executive meeting, that we at this stage are on track to spend 100% of our budget. We won't overspend our budget, so our funding is sufficient. One of the areas we had to do, Chair, is to look at because of, I spoke a lot about deportations, because of the high number of deportations and the costly to drive to Lindela, because it's not one drive, Chair, you stop in, you have to overnight in Bloemfontein, and coming back you have to overnight as well. We had to reprioritize and redirect our funds, our operational budget that we normally would use for our meetings, some outreach, training incentives, for our deportations. So that is all provinces have indicated that pressure, Chair, because of the opera, but we try to balance it out by cutting our expenditures on the operations. Also, Chair, we have now entered from the beginning of this year, January 2026, a new cleaning contract, which for us was actually, we could call it what everyone says, maybe a game changer, Chair. It's a 3-year contract for cleaning for every office now. And in this contract, we also has a clause that if your cleaner doesn't pitch up today, Chair, we have within 24 hours this service provider to have a replacement for us on site. So our hygiene standards, occupational health and standards, safety standards, Chair, will be fully catered for in the next 3 years while we have this contract. It's a very flexible contract. No more, my cleaner didn't pitch, please send help, or I can't clean the office for 3 days. Now it's a 24-hour turnaround, and a new cleaner is on spot. Even our permanent cleaners, if they go on leave, for example, Chair, we get a relief from the service provider. Then in terms of property, and I'm so glad our colleagues from Public Works is here, Chairperson, is the burning issues for us, is the lease in Mossel Bay. Now we received a new office in Mossel Bay under Tusong Center, right in the informal area. Chair, it's a much bigger office. We have refurbished it. We put in the data lines. The office is ready to operate, Chair. But the lease, we are waiting the lease since last year, the signing of the lease for this one. So we cannot move on this new office and start operating. So we continue in the small office we currently are. Riversdale is the municipality provides us with a 5-year free lease for this office in the Tusong Center as well. They're actually doing refurbishments as well. They are so desperate to get a service in the Yesakwa area that the municipality is doing this for us, Chair. The one outstanding thing is, of course, the lease. Then Atlantis, we spoke a lot about Atlantis. This is critical that before the end of March, Chair, that we have this lease in place, because we need to have refurbishments in Atlantis, we have to have data points in place. We need to, at least by 1 June, move into this office, Chair. So the lease becomes actually a vital point for all 3 offices, Chair. The infrastructure priorities, we are now currently on a DHAE online office in the Civic Center. We are busy with finalizing the lease as well as the planning, Chair. So by the end of March, we should be starting with the refurbishments, and probably by the end of April, we targeted the end of March to start operating in the Civic Center. But because with the delay with the layout plans, etc., probably that date will move to April 2026 DG. I'm also saying DG because DG is also key in driving this for us. Then the establishment of the DHA permanent point in Riversdale, we spoke about that. And then also, Chair and members, maybe you've also received some queries about this area. It's Hermanus, one of the, also another fastest growing town, huge informal area, Chair, but we don't have an office. Probably in the Overstrand area, the biggest area in the Overstrand, but we do not have an office. The municipality has given us an office offering a building free of charge. So it's again about a lease agreement, Chair, etc., when it gets to the Hermanus areas. One of the plans going forward, Chair, for the new financial year. Then in terms of our performance, Chairperson and honorable members, this is our performance. We are achieving our targets. On the birth target, we are achieving as at this very moment. But there's 1,700 births that we still need to register to achieve the annual target. But we should be able to conclude that by 2 weeks from now, Chair. So 1 week before the end of the financial year, we would be able to achieve our target for the birth. The smart card target, we're also on course to achieve that, Chair, the smart card targets. In terms of LRBs, these are the number of LRBs we have, 0 to 80 days and older, 17 to 14 years, and 15 and above, Chair. Apologies, members, but the total there is 5,601, 5,661. That's the total of LRBs we have on hand at the moment. Apologies, Chair, we should have put the total there. That's that. But so the biggest category for us is the 1 to 6 years and 7 to 14 years, Chairperson. Then the queue management, we're just looking at areas for us. There's always queues. If you go to Barrack Street, probably 2 o'clock, so it becomes a bit lighter, but always in the morning there are queues, Chair, because of the high volumes. But we do prioritize elderly frail clients as well as learners. We have outsourced security guards to split the queue early in the morning because you find clients coming at 5 or 6 o'clock, so they need to be positioned in the right queues. And the managers, they do go out every 2 hours to walk the queues, Chairperson. Downtime, in terms of challenges, we had 786 hours of downtime. That's just the first 3 quarters, Chair. And it's due to IT systems, CETA connectivity, electricity, and you can add in water supply there as well, as sometimes occupational health and safety issues, for example, at the Atlantis example that I gave, Chairperson. So this really creates a bottleneck for booking clients. So if the system is off at 9 o'clock and you arrive, by 10 o'clock a new cohort arrives booking, 11 o'clock new arrive. So by 12 o'clock you're sitting with 3 hours of bottlenecks of clients. So that creates the slowness of queues, Chair. At the end of the day, then we struggle if you have downtimes. In terms of immigration, Chair, we've done a lot of work in terms of immigration. We are supported by SAPS when we transfer to Landela, particularly with escorts, Chair. You know, you have to have escorts also when you transfer to Landela. We have the Learning Academy has trained 80 law enforcement and SAPS officials on immigration laws and detecting fraudulent documents. We have information coordination that use information from SAPS, Chair, and we've done successful operations in Lansdowne and Ocean View. Then 2 of our officials received awards, and this one, Mr. Klaassen, was instrumental in this is a prosecution of 8 Nigerians, Chair. They were running what's called a Black Axe syndicate of last 2024. It's a Facebook money scam that they were busy with. So we successfully prosecuted them, Chair, which for us was a big breakthrough, and we got accolades from that, particularly Mr. Klaassen. Then also we were in the George area instrumental in the trafficking in persons case, that side. And then the Department of Labor also commended our immigration in the metro for our hard work during the blitz operations that Labor does, Chair. So it's very important. Labor deals with the employers and employees, and we deal with compliance also, Chair. So it's important that the 2 departments work very closely together. Chair, that's just some pictures of, or let me say some evidence of these awards that I'm talking about, Chair and members. This is the immigration performance. We are achieving all our targets. Chair, as you can see, Chair and honorable members, as you can see, the direct deportations, it's quite high for us, and we are the furthest from any day. We do direct deportations to Namibia and Lesotho. That's as far as we can go. And the other one we transferred to Landela, Chair. But this is the performance in terms of that. Now, in terms of employers convicted, why it's low, Chair, and the 2,000 Rand, this fine is set by the magistrates. Very disappointing, Chair. The magistrate determines the fine. And we've had meetings with justice on why such a low fine for these employers. Some are fined more, some are fined 15,000, etc. For example, Chair, if you bring a conveyancer in, if a conveyor enters South Africa, a plane or a bus, and there's a illegal person in that bus, they are fined 15,000 per person. So why should a magistrate determine a fine of 2,000, Chair? So this is a matter, I know we've spoken more about it, but for us also a grave concern, Chairperson. Thank you. This is the immigration officers, Chair, and the vehicles we have, a number of vehicles. I must say that we have been allocated with additional 9 vehicles just in a few, 2 and again 6 more now in end of April and beginning of March, Chair. So we have, same like KZN, received additional vehicles. So we are quite capacitated now in terms of vehicles when it comes to immigration and civics, because in civics we also received about 19 additional vehicles. So vehicle-wise, we are well equipped, I could say, as a province. Capacity going forward in terms of immigration, Chair, even though we say 71 we have, 71 will never be enough, Chair. As I indicated, we are a growing province, so we work in collaboration with SAPS, Operation Sanela, and other cross-border operations. Also, focus-driven operations like SPASA and illicit food, the road traffic and transport logistics, Department of Labor, I spoke about those splits. The BMA also have operations at Cape Town Harbour for illicit goods and illegal persons. We operate on Ayanda operations with them. And the City of Cape Town, of course, when they have illegal occupation of buildings, etc., of areas or land, we also cooperate with them when it gets to them preparing for eviction orders. So we'll continue, Chair, going forward to work with SAPS and rural safety on the farmers and the farming areas and employment of foreign nationals. And then also in a process of entering or looking at the MOU or cooperation with the city law enforcement for sharing operations and participating in operations and law enforcement operations, Chair. In terms of the local government elections, I'm sure, Chair, yourself and the honourable members are experts on the local elections and run-ups, etc. And this is what all provinces are doing, Chair. So I'm not going to go in detail. I know the honourable members is and familiar with this, Chair. But important to say that we do schools projects, late registration, smart cab campaigns, and also for us assisting with fire disasters. And here we have to be agile, as I indicated before, Chair, because we've seen day before registration weekend or days before fire burns takes place, and we have to respond quickly so that people can register. So we have a process in place with the councillors and disaster management chairperson in that regard. As I indicated, roles and responsibilities, DG is always a phone call away just to waive the fees, Chair. And the ward councillors, we work very closely with ward councillors, and they help us a lot with venues, etc., Chair. The high impact outreach, Chair, we brought it here because this is also a significant area of focus for the department to go to rural areas with a number of mobile units, not less than 10 mobile units. We go at a time and we go and clean that particular area over a 5-day period, Chair. So we've gone since 2021, we have been to many of these rural areas. Last year we were in the Cape Winelands area, which I'll show some information. And this year we're planning the Overberg area again to do a high impact outreach, Chairperson. So last year we did, as I indicated, Cape Winelands, we were 13 mobile units. 2 came from Pretoria, 1 from Northern Cape, and 10 from Western Cape. And these are the areas that we serviced over those 5 days. We actually stayed a 6-day, Chair, because the next day was Women's Day. And the officials determined themselves to stay and come back the Saturday and also provide a service in celebration of Women's Day, Chairperson. So this is just a planning meeting we attended. This is just some images of the outreach in the rural areas. And this is statistics, Chair, that we did in 1 week. So as you can see, smart ID cards in 1 week, 3,322 in the Cape Winelands area. So there is still a need, Chair, out there for smart cards. As you can see, day 6 was at Saturday, Women's Day, Chair. We did 112 applications. But also when we go to these outreaches, we do late registration, as indicated there. We take screening committees with us, Chair. So we do late registrations as well as handing out of IDs, Chairperson and members. So this is just the campaigns, the statistics, and where the mobile units and the number plates that they're operating from. And this relates to the schools campaigns, Chair, to focus on learners. So the number of schools is 152, the number of smart cards taken in, and the number of IDs delivered. Now, Chairperson and members, you'll see that in Metro, the IDs is not delivered there because the learners prefer to come and collect it in our office where they will be prioritized, because we don't have on the mobile yet that functionality to take in to issue the mobile units, so they bring it from the office and we then deliver it. But far-lying areas, we do go and deliver those. So for this year, Chair, we've targeted 183 schools. That's one of our main campaigns. Then again, as part of the readiness for elections, again, it's the mobile itineraries is shared. We work with GCIS for communication. CDWs are important. We have posters that we create, and then, of course, radio talk shows. Simonelli, Chair, Cape Talk, etc., where we get free slots. We also then go on these radio stations. This is the list of the uncollected ID cards, Chairperson, honorable members. It says there 54,542. This morning, our coordinator received the updated list, and it's now 40,500, Chair. So it fluctuates. You issue, and then you receive new cards. But so that's a number. It stays within the 50,000 range, Chair and members. The risks, and some of them I've touched on, for us it's a big one that's creating a lot of frustration in the front line with clients and some conflicts as well, is the BAP system, Chair. Immigration, it's the employers. We do a hard work, arresting employers, charging them, Chair, but the magistrates are not confirming, or the fines are not sufficient to deter the employment of illegal foreigners. And then support services must flow behind me in her unit, supply chain management and budgeting. There's only 3 officials, including herself. So there's 2 who must do it. And as we know, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, there's segregation of duties. So we have to steal officials somewhere else to work in our supply chain area, but it's also an area for us of mitigation. The contacts, Chair, the last 2 slides is just, these are our contacts with my contacts on top, the DMOs, the managers. Also, the office managers and their details are on our website, fully displayed. That concludes the presentation, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. I thank you very much.
Thank you, PM Yusuf, Eastern Cape.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, members, Deputy Minister, DG, and colleagues. I'll be taking you through the Eastern Cape presentation. The rundown of the presentation, basically, I'll focus on the context of the province, provide you with an update on our provincial resources, the performance, covering civic services as well as immigration services. The last 3 would be our readiness on the upcoming local elections, as well as the overarching issues, and lastly, the contact details of the senior management of the province. Now, just to give a high-level overview of the province, we've got about 53 offices operating 31 mobile units. We are connected at 23 health facilities where we are able to register births. Now, we are also operating 2 banks, which are in the Nelson Mandela region. That is the outline of the provincial footprint Now, of the 53 offices that we are operating from, we've got 34 that are modernized, and we've got 3 that are operating from malls, and I've already indicated the mobile offices that we have. This is the high-level senior management structure of the province. Myself at the top, we've got 3 field positions of district managers that are under O.R. Tambo as well as Afrenzo, followed by the Sarah Batman as well as Nelson Mandela, and the Chris Hani and Joe Gabi. The district manager position for Buffalo City and Amatole is currently vacant, and there's someone acting in that capacity. You will also recognize that for operational arrangements, we've clustered our districts. Each of the district managers are basically focusing on 2 districts. Then present in the house is the Director of Finance and Support, right here behind me. We run several governance structures, that being the ExCo of the province, which sits on a monthly basis. We've got our extended ExCo as well, and our budget committee. Most of the time, our budget committee basically is a subset of our provincial ExCo meeting. So those basically run in tandem with each other. Then we've got other governance structures that we are running, from loss control, our PCF, which is our Provincial Consultative Forum, where we meet with our social partners, organized labor in that forum. Then, in terms of provincial stakeholders engagement committee meetings, these basically are with external stakeholders and mostly manifest themselves at the level of the districts. And this is where the engagement with members of the public, with external stakeholders, including the DMOs that are responsible for that area, participate. Other stakeholder relations arrangements that we have, we often engage with the Office of the Premier on strategic alignment issues and escalation of systemic service delivery challenges. We also engage at several levels in terms of with other stakeholders, which is health, social development, and other municipalities. Through these structures, we basically engage them on our efforts to register births, school ID campaigns, our mobile unit coordination, where we then need to provide services on several outreach programs that are arranged by the Office of the Premier or other stakeholders within the province. So I take it that with the upcoming elections as well, we've started engagements with IEC, as well as COCTA. We are currently participating in the provincial local elections task team that was just held last week, and other structures that we will be establishing at the level of the districts. Now, taking you through the human capacity of the province, we currently operating at just below 35%. We've got 629 posts that are filled against an approved structure of 1,803. Of these posts, 443 are allocated to our civic services. Immigration services operating with 84 posts, while 102 posts are that of corporate and administrative functions. You will realize that from this slide, under the provincial office, we are sitting at a capacity of 11.76%. In undertaking this analysis, most of the posts are actually vacant under administrative functions and not necessarily the civic services. So with Buffalo City and Amatole combined, they are sitting at 37.62, the lowest being under O.R. Tambo and Alfred Nzo, which obviously follows the provincial office capacity. I will summarize these next few slides. Basically, what we have as the province, like I said, we've got 629 officials. Now, we've got positions that were recently advertised. We've got 3 positions that are in the process of being filled, that of office managers for Bizana, Matatiele, as well as Mount Aleph. Those are the posts that are currently being undertaken through the recruitment process. We've recently advertised the post for the local office, Hemingway's, which we used to call East London, and that position was actually advertised in the past week amongst other positions. However, of these advertisements and recruitments, we still have officials that will be exiting the program under the early retirement program at the end of March. So with the filling of the posts, we'll just go over 35%, and with the exiting, we'll be back to 34% as well. Now, I will run through the other slides so that I take it that these areas were read. Now we've got security, outsourced security capacity as a province. We've got, across the 53 offices, we have an 80% coverage, 100% coverage rather, which was an 80% increase from the initial allocation. And during the day, we are covered by 62 security personnel, as well as the night shift is 51, bringing the total to 113. Most of the offices would necessarily be covered during the day by 1 security personnel, and at night by 2, or interchangeably so. The total of incidents that have occurred during the period under review were 12 across the different districts. Now, under labor relations, we've got 11 cases that are currently of the province. Of these 11 cases, they were spanning from fraudulent activities, as well as conducting business without the requisite approval. So now, these cases, we've got actually 4 that are actually finalized, and others are still pending. Now, one being under Amatole, we have issues of where a charge sheet, basically it was, at this moment, the charge sheet will only be invoked once the employee is back, because the employee is currently on incapacity leave during the process of this disciplinary undertakings. Then under Buffalo City, we've got an official which had absented themselves from work, and the official has subsequently pleaded guilty, and this has resulted in a 1-month suspension without pay and final written warning. Following on Buffalo City, we've got an official that I have referred to earlier on. This official basically conducted business by selling imported cars without informing the employer, and the sanction of dismissal has been pronounced. However, the official has lodged an appeal at this stage, and we are still awaiting the outcome of the appeals authority. Under Chris Honey, we've got those cases, one being the failure to verify the ID, the processing of an ID. That case is basically in process. Then we've got irregular processing of an ID. That case is also in process. The failure to safeguard state-generated revenue, the employee lodged an appeal and resigned at the end of February before the appeals outcome, and therefore we've registered it as a resignation and on PESAL. Irregular processing of permits, again under Chris Honey, the disciplinary hearing has been finalized. The officer has lodged an appeal and still waiting for the outcome of the appeals authority. Under Joe Qabi, we've got 2 cases, one being the failure to safeguard state-generated revenue. This case is also in progress. There's also an official who's basically claimed overtime, having not undertaken overtime. We are waiting the sanction, the report from the chairperson in this instance. Regular processing of death under Nelson Mandela Bay. The disciplinary hearing has been finalized. The employee has actually pleaded guilty, and the final written warning has been pronounced. OR Tambo, we have an official basically enabling someone to use someone else's credentials in order to acquire an ID. The case is yet to sit. We are waiting the availability of the chairperson in that regard. Now, the counter-corruption cases, like the PM KZN indicated, we have been assisted by National Office in finalizing these matters or dealing with these matters. But KZN as well as National Offices are the ones that are assisting us with the capacity to deal with counter-corruption cases, as currently the province does not have counter-corruption capacity. So we have cases that were finalized in this instance. Out of the 9, we were able to finalize 5, and 4 are still in progress. So these are ranging from failure to follow best processes, or rather our standard operating procedures, as well as financial misconduct. The provincial budget allocation as well as the expenditure, just to highlight one of the issues where we are currently overspending. The province is allocated 1.6 million for the transfers and subsidies line item. Now, with the resignations or retirements as well as death, dismissals, we then have to incur then that particular expenditure because of the leave gratuities that we often have to pay and other benefits. So that's where we're sitting at 152% as a province. Under goods and services, we are currently at 81.4%, sitting with 675,000 commitments. However, assessing our linear projections, we will be able then to maintain our operate within our allocated budget as at the end of the financial year, and not incur any further expenditure on any other line items. Now, our budget pressures as a province, it's on the fleet that we are operating and the maintenance costs related to that. Secondly is the issue of travel and subsistence. Here, Chair, we are basically sitting at just above 5 million as a province on travel and subsistence expenditure. In terms of operations, operational costs leading to fuel utilization, amongst others being driven by the deportation that we often have to undertake, and as well as the outreach programs that we basically partner with our stakeholders on. But traveling from one office to another, those are some of the pressure points that we have as a province. Now, this is the fleet that we have as a province. We've recently acquired 16 new vehicles from National Office, and this has greatly assisted us because we are now able to then at least within at least one of the big offices will have adequate number of vehicles to be able to undertake the work that they need to do. Obviously, this fleet is supplemented by our mobile trucks, which are basically able to assist members of the public and be deployed to the far-flung areas when these are needed the most. We have 2 immigration trucks within the province, which we then use for our operations as well as deportations. The property portfolio, we have 46 leased properties, and we've got 8 state-owned properties. That is the breakdown of the property portfolio. I will then just unpack some of I'll highlight some of the issues on the property portfolio. Most of the buildings that we're currently occupying, we have challenges with OHS compliance, but also accessibility for members of the public that are wheelchair-based or rather disabled. And we have also challenges, as you would know, that nowadays we have challenges with water shortages. Some of the offices that we occupy will not necessarily have backup for water. Even if we have backup for water, then there would be issues with municipality supply, where our water tanks are then depleted, and then we have challenges with business continuity. That's number one. Number two is the issues of electricity. Currently, we are operating on some of the offices. Once we do not have electricity, we'll then be operating on our generator. However, we've had serious challenges with some of our generators, which we are not able then to continue with business as we ought to be operating. Now, I will then run through the slides and take it that they are read, but I just wanted to highlight most of those issues. One of the issues that we often find ourselves on the property management aspect is the inadequate enforcement of the lease agreements that we have. Now, we have conditioned some of the offices that are in poor condition, and the landlords are able to attend to certain things, and however, they are not able to attend to certain things. And some of the interventions are delaying. And we find ourselves in that situation where we then need to intervene on ensuring that there's completion. So that is for me, one of the challenges that we have in terms of inadequate enforcement of the lease agreements between the parties that are concerned, including DPWI, the landlord, and ourselves. Now, some of the facilities, as I indicated, are not in compliance with OHS, but also not only from the perimeters, but the office space itself, wherein the space is inadequate to actually accommodate our operations. So I will then leave these particular slides. As like I said, I will take it that it's read. Then coming to our civic services performance, in the last quarter, which is quarter 3, ending in December 2025, the province did not achieve its target on the registration of birth within 30 calendar days. However, as of yesterday, we have recovered. We've basically achieved, and those recovery plans that we have put in place have actually been fruitful. So we were able then to achieve our target as at yesterday. Now, with the smart ID cards, we are sitting at 120% performance. So we've actually overachieved our target in that regard. Moving along to late registration of birth, the volume breakdown per category. As at December 31st, we are sitting with a closing balance of 4,871. Of the 4,871, these are matters that spans from the 31 to 1 year, 1 year to 7 years, 7 to 14 years, 15 years and above. The 31 days to 1 year, ideally we should not be sitting with any backlog in that instance. We are addressing those areas as a province, ensuring that the offices that are entrusted with that responsibility are eradicating that backlog so that it does not proceed to over 1 year and 7 years. Then the largest cohort that we have that is outstanding is the 15 years and above, which basically then is one of the areas where we are actually underperforming. Now, only the DMO can chair the adjudication committees for the 15 years and above category at this moment. The strategies that we've put in place from November 2025 to date is that on a weekly basis, we'll have an LRB sitting in each of the districts. However, with the shortage of DMOs that I've alluded to in my previous slides, you will then notice that this particular area of work, especially the 15 years and above, will then still incur more of the backlog, because we have, in the financial year under review, we've basically received 941 extra of those matters. Now, 58% of the LRB applications that we were able to process from April to date, like I indicated, our backlog will still, we're working on our backlog. At the moment, we are sitting as we are supposed to be sitting as often as we can. Moving along to immigration services, in the last 3 quarters, we were able to undertake 400 inspectorate law enforcement operations or inspections. We, against the target of 424 for the annual, and for the Q3 target would have been 308. So as at the end of the Q3, we are achieving our target. Percentage of employers in contravention with the Immigration Act, we are performing at 120. We've achieved our target. The percentage of detected transgressors in contravention of the Immigration Act, again, we're sitting at 1,206. The percentage of undocumented foreigners deported within 30 calendar days is 329. And those that were undocumented, that were transferred to Lindela within 20 calendar days were 250. Moving along on the strategies to ensure our readiness for the local elections, we have basically started a drive to facilitate the distribution of our uncollected smart ID cards. We have started engaging with the different municipalities. We have reached out to COCTA to assist us in terms of the community development workers as well as the traditional leaders. Now, we have also started with the arrangement of ward-based collection campaigns as well as public awareness campaigns. Now, the intention here is to reduce our uncollected documents across all districts. Participation as well during the voter registration weekends, like I indicated, that we have started engaging with IEC on these matters. We are meeting again with IEC in April so that we align ourselves with their program of action. The school projects, ensuring that our scholars are able to receive their smart ID cards. In the month of March alone, we are targeting 50 schools, which will be visited by the 31st of March, in partnership with the councillors as well as the school principals. On uncollected smart ID cards, 65% of the smart ID cards remain uncollected for more than 6 months. The age analysis is provided there below that the C cohort is basically above 12 months. It's 12 months and above. Now, under Nelson Mandela and Sarah Baartman, we've got uncollected IDs which are sitting at 19,419. Under OR Tambo as well as at Frenzo, we've got 11,543, as well as Chris Hanen Jokabi, 9173, Buffalo City and Amatole, 9618, with the largest number of uncollected smart ID cards sitting under Nelson Mandela and Sarah Baartman. Then the uncollected green barcoded ID documents, we're sitting with 2,946 under OR Tambo, Chris Hani and Joe Qabi, 1541, Nelson Mandela, 359, and Buffalo City having the largest number of uncollected ID, green barcoded IDs, 5,861. Now, the provincial overarching issues, we've spoken at length around the system stability or rather instability, the intermittent network disruptions that we often experience, the service downtime impacting on our turnaround times. In this instance, we are often at times we have clients waiting for very long times in our offices and complaining around the waiting time due to system downtimes. Now, staffing capacity, as we have indicated, we are operating at 34.89 of the approved establishment. We've got insufficient personnel to meet civic and immigration services demand, increased pressure on frontline officials, and the risk of backlog accumulation. As it pertains to infrastructure limitations, inadequate office space in high volume sites, we can cite examples, Mthatha office, to be particular. We have challenges with space in that office, amongst others. OHS compliance challenges, limited capacity to expand service points. The last three being our immigration service demand, where we have to ensure rising compliance and enforcement requirements, increase inspections and operational mandates, limited staffing to meet the operational scope. The growing stakeholder expectations as well, as indicated, our mobile fleet, we are often expected to participate, and this has a bearing on our financial state as a province. Increased requests from participation from municipalities and community structures. Obviously, the demand is based on the fact that we are expected to provide the services. Now, as well as public expectation to extend our service hours. External environmental issues, I have spoken to the issue of water disruptions as well as electricity outages. Now, these are the contact details of the province management, myself then being at the top, and the different district managers, which are then outlined in the last 4 rows. I thank you.
Thanks very much. 3 PMs for the brief. We're going to break at 1 o'clock for lunch. We'll now take Home Affairs. I'm not sure how was the agreement, DM, between Home Affairs and Public Works, whether they've consolidated the report. We'll request that they assist us. Okay.
No, thanks. We did not have any agreement with me, but I believe that we must take Public Works so that when members engage, they can engage in a full pictured view. We also do have our colleagues from Home Affairs who are coming in from facilities. They will then deal with whatever issues they need to deal with after the inputs from Public Works. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, DM. Public Works.
Good day, Chair, Honorable Chair, and the honorable members. I think I would start with introducing ourselves so that honorable members know who is in the meeting. I am Uluyanda Kafile, who is a DDG in the Program Management Office at Public Works. Next to me is Mr. Muasa. He is an acting DDG for the Real Estate Management Services. Behind me, we have Ms. Manini Dumane. She is a portfolio manager for the Home Affairs portfolio. On my left, we have Mr. Morris Mabinja, a chief director for the leasing portfolio. We have Ms. Tembeka Kolele in the corner. She is a director for projects. We then have regional managers. That is Mr. Dumisani Kabela. He is a regional manager for the Western Cape province. We also have Mr. Nkosi Vilakazi. He is a regional manager for KwaZulu Natal. We also have Ms. Hlengwa, Ms. Nolizu Hlengwa, who is a regional manager for the Western Cape. We have structured, Chair, the presentation to deal with the provinces that have been indicated on the agenda on facilities that are occupied by Home Affairs, both the leased and the state-owned facilities. Mr. Muasa and the team will take us through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and honorable members, honorable Deputy Minister, the senior officials of the department from both Public Works and from both the departments of Public Works and Home Affairs. I thought that I premise this presentation with a few remarks that will give more context, because as my acting my DDG has indicated, that we have collaborated with the Home Affairs in order to ensure that we respond to the particular issues that they have raised. But members, maybe if you indulge me just to give a high-level remark, because you will see that most of what we are responding to are actually speaking to this, just my remark, especially because I've just engaged. I started last week and I engaged the colleagues and I started picking up what the challenges are. As I start here very quickly, Ms. Manini Dumani will take you through that presentation. We do need to confirm, indeed, that we thank this opportunity to the committee to appear before you. We do not take these for granted. We understand that the Department of Home Affairs is fundamental to the rights and dignity of every South African. So when Home Affairs offices are not functioning optimally, it is not merely an administrative inconvenience. It is failure of the state that serves to serve the people. So, but I just want to be direct on the outset to you that we acknowledge the problems. The chairperson, we occupy quite a lot of properties across the 9 provinces, and it's a combination of leased buildings and state-owned facilities. The condition of these buildings, the speed at which we procure accommodation, new accommodation in particular, and the costs, because someone spoke about the issue of cost, that Home Affairs is paying exorbitant rates. So we have also noted that is one of the root causes or the challenges that we have, especially within the leasing space. These are subject of repeated concern from this committee, from Home Affairs, from the public, but even ourselves when we did that internal deep dive exercise of what is really going on. So just in conclusion, I just want to be put to this and just be honest that these concerns are indeed legitimate. There are Home Affairs offices that are dilapidated, that are unsafe, that are unhealthy for both officials and the public, and there are lease renewals that take far too long, that leave the Department of Home Affairs in a month-to-month arrangement, and that erodes negotiating power and allow landlords to neglect maintenances. If your lease is coming to an end and it runs on a month-to-month, you don't have the negotiating power because you are going to extend it with the same conditions, terms and conditions. One of those would be that what you call the rental. So if the rental rate is high, it means you're going to continue with that. We have realized that that's one of those. So these are rentals that are higher than they should be because we have not consistently negotiated these leases and where possible moved Home Affairs into state-owned accommodation. So there are procurement processes that stall, leaving Home Affairs waiting years for alternative accommodation while officials work in the degrading offices. I will now allow Ms. Manini Dumani to actually be specific, but maybe just the last point, Chairperson, is we do note that the letter that was written to the department on the 2nd of March did require that we provide a comprehensive report of the entire country. This information is information that we must consolidate, coordinate from all our regional offices, and not just for leased properties. I lead the lease, the REMS, which focuses more on your lease properties. But there are others that deals with OHS, facilities management, and so forth, including our CPM, construction and project management. So to get that information within that time space was a bit of a challenge. That's why we then agreed that the best approach for now, for today, would be to interface with the presentation coming from Home Affairs, which then deals with the three provinces, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and KZN. And for that, we have also brought the regional managers who can then respond particularly to some of the challenges that we have. Chair, maybe let me leave it at that, and then allow Ms. Dumani to quickly take us through that. Thank you.
Thank you, DDG. Good afternoon, Chair, the DG of Home Affairs, DM, and all honorable members of the Parliament. My name is Manini Dumani. I'll take you through the slides basically on 3 provinces where we have, that is KZN, Western Cape and Eastern Cape. And I'll try to summarize because we have, our presentation is quite long. So we have, I'll start with the Eastern Cape. The Eastern Cape, we have the leased properties that are 46 in numbers. The state-owned buildings is 9. And I will start with the Alfred Nzo, which is Bizani office. That office, it's in good condition. Well, it's fairly maintained. We occupy plus minus 572 square meterish, and the lease is only ending in 2029. We have Matatiele, the lease is about to be formalized, and we should be, but the property it's in good condition. We have Mount Elif, and we occupy 600 square meterish, and the lease is expiring in 2029. And the building is fairly maintained. We have Mount Frere. The building is fairly maintained, and the lease is only ending, the lease has ended in February, so we should be renewing that lease. We have Ntabankulu. The lease is ending in March, and we'll be renewing that lease. We are waiting to issue the instruction. And also we need a backup water there and electricity, but we haven't finalized the issue of the genset on this building. We have Idujwa, that is the local municipality office, and it is, the building was in a good condition, therefore we decided that we'll move the office to Mbashe Mall. Then we have Alice. The building is, the condition is poor, but the lease is ending now in April, so we will be advertising and procuring an alternative accommodation. We have Elliot Dale. Also, the maintenance is not good, and we are negotiating with the landlord to maintain the building. And we are busy with the feasibility study to find alternative accommodation. We have Fort Beaufort. The lease is ending in April. It's not a good building, but the landlord has committed to attend to the maintenance requirements in the building. We have Kika Mashoek. The building is not in a good condition. We had requested, this one, it's a SAPO building, the post office. So we requested the SAPO to look at the maintenance, but SAPO is going through liquidation, so we had issues of financing the maintenance issues in this building. Middle Street, the condition is good, and we just need more ablution facilities for the public. Kamakwe, The lease is ending now in March, and we are busy, the project, we are busy, we're going to refurbish the property. So we have Paddy office. It's a fair condition building, but the lease has expired. So we're renewing the lease, but on condition that the landlord commits to maintenance. We have Stutterheim, and the building is good, and it also includes the modernization of requirements of public works. Of Home Affairs. We have Willowvale. The lease ended in 2026. The lease is ending now in August, so we will be renewing if Home Affairs is still happy with the building. Hemingway's Mall, the lease has to be finalized. It's a good building. King Williamstown, the lease is also ending in August. It's a fair building, but renewal negotiation on condition that maintenance may look at its own way. We have Mdantsane. Here they require additional space, and the lease will be ending in December, so we will be renegotiating the maintenance requirements when we're renewing the lease end of the year. East London, the lease was terminated. Home Affairs has to give us the new instruction, but the lease was terminated. Provincial Office, which is in Buffalo City, it's in a poor condition, LHS non-compliant. Emergency exit is only the only matter that requires attention, but the landlord has committed that he will sort it out. We have Ngala. It's a fairly good building, but we require additional space for modernization requirements of Home Affairs. Ovimbaba, it's in a poor condition, and the landlord had a conservation notice, and he's committed that he will attend to all non-compliance issues in this building. We have Craddock office. Condition is fairly well, but we need backup. The backup water and electricity was sorted out, so the lease is valid till April. We have Elliot, that is in Chris Honey. The facility need maintenance, and we're negotiating with the landlord to look at the maintenance issues in this building. Lady Frere, it's in a poor condition, and the landlord, our regional office had a bilateral meetings with the landlord on a weekly basis, which he committed that he will attend to maintenance issues. Middleburg office, the condition is good. The generator will be replaced, and that one we're okay with the period. Queenstown, the condition is poor. We're struggling to get alternative accommodation because of scarce accommodation in town, but we will go out on tender. But the lease, at least this lease is expiring in 2027. Whittlesea, the lease also is expiring in 2027 April. We are waiting for installation of solar panels, though the solar panels is installed by DHA, not Public Works. The landlord. Jode Qabi, which is Alua North, the condition is fine. We have few issues that needs to be attended on compliance, and we will attend to those. Beggar's Drop, here we need to attend to public ablution facility, and also we need to work on our TIs because the building was procured as a white box. Mount Fletcher, The condition is poor. It requires additional accommodation, or, additional space to modernize the Home Affairs requirements. And Stakespruit, the lease is expiring in November. Condition is fairly well, and we only had the issue of water meters, which has been resolved now. Clearly Park, which is Nelson Mandela Bay, the condition is fairly well. We have done the inspection with the landlord in September, and all the issues pertaining maintenance or compliance will be attended to. Motherwell, condition is fair, and the lease is still valid. Bay West Mall, condition is good. We just need to finalize the snack list on the TI of that lease. The lease is ending in 2030. Govan Mbeki, the lease was terminated. This we will await Home Affairs to give us an instruction of further. Uitenhage, the lease is expiring in 2027. It's a good facility, but the ablution facility was vandalized by a client, and we requested Home Affairs to repair because it was negligence. OR Tambo, which is Flagstaff office. This one we are relocating the office to the mall, and the mall office that identified is fairly in a good condition. Libode, it's fairly maintained. The lease is expiring in May. We'll be renewing. Mkanduli, the lease is expiring in August. It's in a poor condition. We require additional space for modernization requirements, and we're negotiating with the landlord. The meetings have been held on a weekly basis with the region to ensure that maintenance is attended to. DMO office, which is still OR Tambo, the lease has ended, but the facility is in a fair condition. It has backup electricity and water. There aren't much issues except to renew this lease. We have Kumbu, which is in a fair condition. The lease has expired, so we will be renegotiating with the landlord to even on maintenance issues. Zulu office, the condition is fair, contract is valid, and the building is maintained. Sarah Batman, the lease is ending in 2029, and there isn't much of maintenance issues in that building. Grahamstown, there's issues on configuration with Home Affairs that we need to finalize. And Humansdorp, the building is also in a fair condition, and we need to look at also the configuration. Basically, Kremenstown and Humansdorp is an issue that the office it's a bit low, it's a bit small for the capacity of Home Affairs. So we need to look at reconfiguration of that space. Port Alfred, we are busy finalizing the lease renewal, and the maintenance issues will be looked at with the landlord. As Somerset East, also, this is another office that the capacity is small. The capacity is small for Home Affairs needs, so we have to look at reconfiguration of that office. We have Eastern Cape, which has only 8 offices, which are state buildings. That is Butterworth. Butterworth, the condition is fair. We have a backup water and electricity. We don't have much challenges on maintenance there that was ever brought to us. We have Ngandani. It's also, it needs to be refurbished so that it can accommodate the multi-purpose center. The project is with Public Works. Our town planning design section is busy looking at that. Zolicha, it's a good building. We are sharing that with SASA department, and it's a state-owned. Chris Hani Ngobo, it's in a good condition, but we're renovating that facility. Tomo, it's in a good space, and we're sharing the office with Justice, and we are waiting for Justice to move out. Lusikisiki, it's in a good space. This project was refurbished in 2021, and Kocha had to go back and look at the latent defects. I think on this one, Ms. Kolela could also assist me, or one of the RM, if there's more details to it. Mtata, the building is in a poor condition. We require alternative accommodation, and we have explored the options of moving into the mall, and we are waiting for Home Affairs to give us a yea or nay on the mall. Ngeleni, it's in a fair condition. It's well maintained. Port St. Johnson, it's a good building, and it needs to be renovated inside and out, which was initiated and completed in 2022. KwaZulu Natal has got 37 properties and 5 state-owned buildings. Ulundi, I think our colleagues has also touched on it. We were operating not in a good space, and the proposal was that we move into Ulundi Mall, because where they were, it was a provincial public works, and we're busy with the renovation, but the proposal is that we move into Ulundi Mall. Pinetown is one of those offices that for many, many years we just had misfortunes and misfortune. We advertised a couple of times, and there were challenges, and eventually when we're just about to move into one building in 2021, it was affected by those KwaZulu-Natal riots. Now we are negotiating with the Provincial Public Works, which they offered a building in Pinetown, and we believe it will meet the needs of Home Affairs. We have the pink area, which is basically Phoenix, Inanda, Nduzuma, and Kwamashu. And also this one, it was advertised a couple of times, and we had challenges in awarding. But we now are starting the process afresh, and we will be going through the feasibility study to procure, but on a nominated procedure, because open tender a couple of times has failed us. We have Provincial Office Maritzburg. Maritzburg also is one of those difficult areas because Maritzburg is mainly owned by one landlord, so you tend to be advertising and the very same person is the one responding. So we're busy with the procurement of new advert, but we are busy with the feasibility study. Hopefully, we will be nominating. Hopefully, there's maybe a new player in Maritzburg. Mgungundlovu. Mgungundlovu also, it went out on tender, but we were not successful. And Mgungundlovu is also one of the challenges that the scarcity of commercial property in the area. So we'll be finalizing our feasibility study and go out on tender, but on a nominated procedure again. Port Shipston, we advertised, and the building was recommended, but Home Affairs was reviewing their financials and they could not confirm the funding, then the tender collapsed, so we have to now re-advertise again. And Nongoma, like my colleagues have said, Nongoma is, we've gone out on tender a couple of times. We could not yield any results, but eventually we're talking to Itala, and we are busy finalizing the negotiations on rates, and we're waiting for Home Affairs to confirm whether they'll be happy with those rates coming from Itala, the rental rate. Melmoth, we're negotiating with the municipality, and because there isn't much of properties or commercial properties in Melmoth, and we are about to finalize that and the rental offers. Ixopo is also one. We went out on tender, we could not find anything, and eventually we have to, we engaged the municipality, but the space was given to DSD. So we now compelled to go out on market. Pongolo office is also another challenge of scarcity in the area of commercial properties, but we identified there isn't much of any, whether municipality, Itala, or post office, so we're planning to construct. Then we will require a budget from Home Affairs. Msinga, this one, it was an additional space with the municipality, so there isn't much of crisis there. We'll finalize the additional space. Mapumulo, they're operating in a magistrate building. It's not a good building, but we don't have much options, and we finalizing that. DOJ must move out, and we identified a two-zone center for Home Affairs. Howick, this office is it's a small office, so we need to find alternative accommodation as capacity of Howick is not appropriate there. Bula, this one, it's a rehabilitation construction project, which was cancelled due to poor performance by contractor, and the project had to be re-advertised. I mean, is going to be re-advertised now. Ms. Kolela, the RM Devon, they will assist me on the PEP on this project. Harding, the designs have been done. We have limited funding, but we're hoping that we will also finalize this project. KwaTuguza, that is Stenga. I think the DG and the TM has touched on KwaTuguza, and it's been a challenge for a while because of the poor performance of the contractor. We canceled the project in October, and the client requested that they take over the project as over the years Public Works has delayed. Beckville, it's in a two-zone center, and we're waiting for configuration also here because the office was initially quite small, and it has been grown to be plus minus 289 square meterish. Greytown, this one, it's additional space, and we also busy with the feasibility study on this one. So basically, I think in summary, KZN, the biggest challenge is scarcity of commercial properties in rural areas. So therefore, it turns to, we advertise, and we don't get much results from the market. Western Cape, we have 26 leased properties and 3 state-owned buildings in Khayelitsha, Vredenburg, and Stellenbosch. Moso Bay lease agreement, it has been on extension for a period of 6 months, which expires now in June, and we will be renewing, where the process has already commenced. There was an inquiry about Riverdale lease agreement from the portfolio committee, and we do not have any request or any thing that has been brought to attention to us to procure an office in Riverdale. So we did not, we don't have anything happening on Riverdale. Atlantis, I think we had Home Affairs, we've spoken about it, and we are addressing it, and the final proposals were sent to the minister in February, so hopefully something will be finalized soon. So that is all basically from our side on Western Cape and Eastern Cape and KZN.
All right, thanks very much for the brief. What we'll do, we'll break for 30 minutes. Then when we come back, department will add if there are issues that you add, and then we'll invite members to engage on all the reports that have been presented. So we'll reconvene at 20 to 2, I think. Is it fine? Yeah. Let's adjourn.